ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to another edition of the What's Going Down podcast. Today, we've got a lot scheduled, but first, I am your host, big time Jimmy Larson, with my great co-host, the man of the hour, the man with the power. I've done that before. Let's do that again. Mr. C.T. Bishop.
What's going down, everybody? What's going down? Big time Jimmy Larson. And wow, all the stuff going on, man. How's it going?
Well, first of all, I think we should mention that we are not just live on YouTube today. You want to go ahead and tell them about that?
Yes, we are also live on Twitch. Oh my goodness. And it's awesome. And pretty soon I will be putting the Twitch URLs and stuff. So if you're somebody that you do Twitch more than YouTube, you can catch us on Twitch as well. You know, so
I am feeling a bit shaky and twitchy today.
Well, what's going on, brother? What's going on? Or what's going down?
Well, a lot's going down. We're not going to talk about some of the personal stuff we've talked about, but I will say today's show is jam-packed. We got some good stuff. Last week, we got a lot of good feedback from people about the video game discussion, and this week, the video game discussion is going to continue with video games about wrestling and video games about fighting. So there's going to be some good stuff there. Yep. We've also got some other good stuff, though, planned as well. I talked about it last week. I said that Bill and Ted Face the Music was coming out. I even plugged it. I promoted this. I did give them their chance, Mr. Bishop. Well, today I'm going to rip them apart, and you will hear that a little bit later on. But first, tell the people all about other kinds of shows and stuff that they can see us on. You could start. I'll get in after. Where can they see you?
All right. If they want to see me, they can see me on Josue Skits. That is my skits channel. I do comedy skits, just try to be funny. I also do karaoke from time to time and some other things here and there, but mainly the skits. Also, check me out on Tuesday Night Tussle. Yes, I finally added a brand new episode on Tuesday Night Tussle, and those links are in the description box below.
I think I'll be returning the Tuesday Night Tussle eventually. I think that's got to happen.
That sounds great, brother. That sounds great. I can't wait.
You can check out the old episodes in the archives on that channel.
Oh, definitely.
You can also see me on my show At the Movies. Every Friday, we add a new episode. We added a new episode yesterday that's already getting great feedback. It was a review of Blank Man. And those of you who've watched the shows, they are reviews, but they are also more. They are basically a comedy show with the movie kind of pushed into the sideline as the basis of it. But it's not totally a review. They're done for comedic purposes. It's a comedy show. And if you haven't figured that out yet, well, check it out. You can see the link in the description to my main channel, Big Time Jimmy Larson, and you can see those episodes in the archives. New episodes every Friday. As I said, every week here on the podcast, I will I will reveal the new episodes that will come out week to week. Next week is the Thanksgiving special. We are going to be reviewing the Hoboken Chicken Emergency. And I know at this point, every one of our listeners just said, what the heck did he even just say? They're not saying, what is that? They're saying, what did he even say? I'll say it again. The Hoboken Chicken Emergency. It is an old book that was made into a TV movie starring Peter Billingsley, best known for playing Ralphie in A Christmas Story. So see, now it's not so crazy that I'm reviewing it. If you want to see more about this movie, check out the review next Friday night on At the Movies. Also, I have a new show coming very soon. It should be posted sometime this week called Time Out at the Arcade. I am going to be reviewing the miniature arcade systems that you have been seeing in stores, and most of you have probably been asking yourselves, are these any good? Are they worth the money? Well, I'm going to give my reviews on the ones that I currently have, and I'll let you know what I think about them, as well as show you some of the gameplay and allow you to make your own decision as to whether or not you want to add these to your collection or not. I think I've said enough about that. So, with that said, Mr. C.T. Bishop, chime in and tell the people where they can contact us.
All right, well, you can contact us in the email. It is in the thumbnail. It is whatsgoingdowntoday@gmail.com. Also, I finally kept my promise, and I know we talked about it last week. I kept my promise. The What's Going Down Facebook page is up. I will be putting that in the description box below soon. But it will be if you look for us, What's Going Down. I believe if you look for it on Facebook is at WG Down. You'll see the logo of What's Going Down. You can contact us there as well. And, contact us there as well on the Facebook page. Write us a message right on the board. Send your ideas on there too. Also, if you are on Twitter, I have a Twitter, and that is in the description box below. That is at RezMercado, at REZMERCADO. All that stuff is in the description box below. Contact us anytime. And, and one more thing. We have a Discord server. If you're on Discord, we have a Discord chat. So feel free to, accept the invitation that's in the description box below. However you contact us, anytime, anywhere, any place, whatever, feel free to contact us. Give us topics to talk about. Ask us questions. Whatever you want to tell us, feel free to tell us.
Send us some carrier pigeons. You can hear them behind him even.
Yeah, they're ready. They are ready to go out and and reply to all the messages sent.
Exactly. Well, next week we are going to have a tremendous show. We're going to have a tremendous show this week as well. We have a tremendous show every week. But next week is a highly requested show that people have been asking for. They've been demanding it for over a month since we started doing this. People have said, if you were going to do the Halloween Havoc show like we did, you have to do a Survivor Series show. Well, you get your wish. Next week, right here on the What's Going Down podcast, we are going to go through 33 years of history from the Survivor Series. How are we going to do that, you may ask? Because as you saw, we ran into a lot of problems doing this for Halloween Havoc, even though that was a heavily loved episode. Yeah. We are not going to cover match by match for each show and each year. We are only going to cover the highlights of the Survivor Series, only the things that were worth watching or they were so bad that they have to be talked about. That's how we're going to do it. And myself and C.T. Bishop have been doing our studying to remind ourselves a bit about some of the moments we may have forgotten. And I tell you, there's some things there that I just did not remember at all. And there were some things that I remembered and I wish I did not. So I am doing this for you, the loyal listeners. And speaking of loyal listeners, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine who is a loyal listener. She listens in every week that she can, and that is my good friend Melissa. And I want to thank her for joining us here on the program tonight.
Yes, welcome. It's always a pleasure to know that you and your family is listening, and you're awesome. You're all awesome.
Yes, indeed. Awesome indeed. Always awesome. We want to now bring attention to something that's going on in the current events, because we do that sometimes here on the show. The Rockefeller tree arrived today at Rockefeller Center in New York City. Mm-hmm. Now, this has always been huge to me. I don't know if even you notice, but that tree symbolizes Christmas to me.
No, I agree.
And in the movie Home Alone 2, when Kevin goes to see the tree, it's symbolic. And I'm not going to say that why, but it's symbolic. And every single time I see that, it's so wonderful seeing him standing in front of the tree. And I myself have always wanted to go see the tree live. and I've been promised many times by somebody who goes without me, but I'm not going to get into that. But let me just say, what I sent you this picture, so I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
And if the people have not seen the image of the tree, I encourage you to look this up. Why does the tree look so bad?
Yep.
Do you agree?
I know. That's the thing. I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I still can't wait for to see how it would look with the lights on, because
I think they need to add some branches to it before they do that.
No, I agree. No, I agree. But I'm just
The
saying.
only thought I could have on this is because of the fact that we've had such a dry year,
Yeah.
that maybe the lack of rain caused that, but it just goes along with everything else in 2020.
No, yeah, no, it's possible, but
Maybe they're gonna wrap a giant mask around the bottom.
right? No, I'm just saying. I mean, personally, and I'm looking at it now, and actually, you know what? Let me see if I can add it to the podcast. Okay, so that way people can see it on the podcast. Is that I mean, you see the tree, you see the tree. I've been to New York plenty of times, and and I've seen the tree, and please excuse the dogs and the birds, but I've been to, and it's always this beautiful, luscious, like big.
See, he heard us talking about trees, and now he's talking about the tree bark.
No, no, right? So,
And the birds are going nuts because they want to live in that tree.
right. All right, so I'm showing the picture now. Okay, so people can see it. So, normally the tree's big and luscious, and it's has branches all the way down to the bottom of it. And, I mean, it is just a gorgeous tree, and with the lights and everything. Now, I want to see how the lights look on this, but this thing is missing. It is missing something, and it's not the lights. It's just like it doesn't look full. It's dry. I have no idea. And you're right. Maybe because it has been a dry year, and
they're gonna need some kind of magic to make that work. And I mean, Christmas is time for magic, but
yeah. And hopefully
I'm still curious how they're gonna pull off the special this year anyway, because they're not gonna have the people live. And therefore, I assume they're not going to have the live performances. So Mariah Carey probably won't be there again. And Cyndi Lauper's there a lot of times. I don't think she'll be there. I'm curious what they're going to do with the lighting.
I mean, the thing is that if they're gonna do a live thing, there's not gonna be a crowd, or if there is a crowd, it's gonna be social distancing measures and all of that, and at the most, if they don't have any a live performance with the performers actually there, it'll be a big Zoom meeting, like what I mean. It'll be a big Zoom meeting,
Yeah, maybe they're gonna just put giant monitors there and have Mariah Carey live from her house performing, and everybody will be live via satellite. We're all taking a page out of Dwayne Johnson's book.
Right. I mean, it'll be like, how WWE, in the Thunderdome, they have the crowd, which is a virtual crowd. It'll be vice versa.
Yeah, the virtual, virtual everybody, the crowd, the people involved, everybody will be virtual.
Yeah.
Heck, you know what? If we got to do virtual all year, I think I'm going to start a petition that this year for New Year's Eve, we go virtual Dick Clark. Get Dick Clark back. Exactly. We can do it because it's live via satellite. They can somehow if they could digitally I'm going a little bit ahead of schedule on that one, so I'll get back to that after. But if they could put digital George Carlin back into a new movie,
yep,
they can freaking do that. And I will get more on that in a minute.
Or I'll say, a hologram. If they're able to do a holographic Tupac Shakur, a holographic Michael Jackson, and I mean, come on, they could put a holographic Dick Clark on stage, doing whatever. Hello, this is Dick Clark, and whatever. I mean, we have the technology. Let's
You know
use
what the
it.
problem is, though?
Go ahead.
I can see it now. You
Yeah.
know how headlines always get cut off
Yeah.
these days on the internet? You only see the first part of the headline
Yeah.
because it cuts off.
Yeah.
I can see it now. This year for New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
Times Square
Yeah.
will have a holographic dick. They will forget to put Clark until you click the article. The ultimate clickbait.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Like,
God.
what? What's going to be there? Oh, that explains why there's one ball up there. The ball will drop.
Oh yeah, no. If they're gonna go that route, it's gonna be yeah. The ball will drop and the voice will drop. Everything will drop.
Anyway, speaking
Okay.
of, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say, speaking of dropping, but no, I just realized what's coming next. I can't segue that like that.
Okay.
Oh, man. Now let's get into a more serious mood for a minute.
All right.
We did last week's podcast on Saturday, as always, and then on Sunday we learned that we've lost the great Alex Trebek,
Yeah.
host of Jeopardy. And if the question had to be asked, because the answer is always a question, it would be, this great game show host has now taken over his new duties in a wonderful place filled with clouds. And the answer, of course, would be...
Who is Alex Trebek?
Yes. Alex Trebek also was, wrestling-wise, we know him because of WrestleMania 7. And I was thinking about it when he went. I was like, was he the one who interviewed Undertaker? Now it was actually Regis, and we lost Regis earlier this year, too, because remember there, Regis, they were measuring him for his coffin. And it's like kind of morbid now. I was thinking at first it was Alex Trebek, then I realized no, that was Regis. But because yeah, Alex Trebek though, he was the one who had the great interview with Jake Roberts when he was terrified of Jake's snake, Damien. So that was cool too. Alex Trebek, great host of Jeopardy. Nobody's going to be able to replace him. I know they're talking about different replacements. I've even heard the joke that they would get Joe Rogan in there. And come on, really?
I mean,
it was a joke somebody made, and then the world took it seriously. I know LeVar Burton, is one of the top candidates. I think that would actually be cool.
Yeah, that would.
Because I loved him on Reading Rainbow, and he was great in Community, where he played as himself.
I mean, LeVar.
So I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, LeVar Burton, Reading Rainbow, Community, Star Trek. I mean, everything that he's been a part of.
I don't know if it's trademarked or not, but if it's not, the greatest thing ever would be for Jeopardy to have at the end of it, the more you know.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be awesome.
It's a cool crossover, and it works because Jeopardy is about a show where you know things.
Exactly.
So it'd be a really cool crossover for that to happen, and they could even do like the rainbow round.
Yeah, right. No, actually, that would make perfect sense, and it would, like you said, the perfect crossover. Now, I don't
something brand new, the rainbow round. I don't know what it would be, but
or instead of the daily double, the rainbow double, something.
Well, no, you don't want to change the classics.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, but
everybody thinks that Ken Jennings.
Yeah.
I've actually seen people saying Ken Jennings is the only choice. Here's the problem. I've looked this guy up to see some of the episodes he's on.
Yeah.
This guy, he knows a lot. Okay, I'm not going to deny that, but he's not a television personality.
No.
He's boring. He's not going to be able to bring the knowledge that you want to see. Like, it's not going to make you care to watch the show. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I know people think that anybody with a microphone can go on and talk. They think that's the same thing about us. Let me tell you something. Me and Bishop, we've been doing this for years, long before we came on YouTube, because the both of us, we have a background of talking in front of live crowds and everything. We've done it.
Exactly.
We have that experience, and therefore we have that talent. Ken Jennings, I don't see him being able to be that guy.
No.
I think once in a while, if they want to bring him on as like a guest host,
Yeah.
I could see that. But no, LeVar Burton, though, he's done it. He's been a host. He can handle it.
Exactly.
Then there's Rosie Perez. Come on. The only reason people are saying Rosie Perez is because her character in White Men Can't Jump,
Yeah.
it loved Jeopardy. But if that's the case, hey, I know none of you have seen it, so you don't get the joke, but let's go get Little Peanut from Jury Duty. He loved Jeopardy too.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this as far as Rosie Perez, and I have nothing but love for Rosie Perez being a fellow.
Oh, I love Rosie Perez as an actress.
Yeah, and being a fellow Puerto Rican, I support her 1,000% in just about every venture that she does. But okay, how can I explain this? And I hear the dogs because they're agreeing with me.
He explained it perfectly.
Exactly.
We don't even have to explain it. That dog just freaking explained it perfectly.
No, but it's like, can you imagine her, speaking, saying, and today daily double E's, like, and today daily double E's. Mandarins from China. Okay, the answer is whatever, and it's like, I mean, I don't know.
A few people have mentioned Betty White, and then there's people who say, "Oh, that can't go." Alex Trebek had handpicked her, but as a joke.
Yeah.
He wasn't serious. You realize that Betty White, I love Betty White, but she's not going to be around forever. She can't. If you pick her, we're going to need a new replacement within the next 10 years.
Yes, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong.
That's just realistically. I'm not saying I'm wishing Betty White. No, I would love Betty White to live on forever.
Yeah, it's not being morbid, or it's just being realistic that, yes, within 5, 10, 15, if we're lucky. I mean, she would be great as a guest host.
How old is she now anyway? Isn't she already in her, like, almost 100?
Let me check real quick. Hold on.
I think she's like in her 90s, I think.
I think she is in her 90s. If hold on. Betty White. Come on, show. All right, so she's 98. 2 more years. In 2 more years.
98. There you go.
And January 17 is her birthday. So pretty much in 2 more years, almost actually 1 year. Let's be real. In about 1 more year, she'll be 100. My God. Yeah,
let her host the show on her 100th birthday.
Yeah.
As a tribute.
Yeah.
One night. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
But like I said, like you said, I love her. She is, but to to be realistic, she got about 5, 10, 15 years, and then
I can't see her being a game show host anyway, because I mean, she was on Match Game as a panelist all the time, as one of the celebrity panels, and she was great.
Yeah,
but she wasn't the host.
Yeah,
and the one time I can think of her actually hosting something was when she hosted Monday Night Raw, and we all seen how bad that turned out.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The only memorable thing there was Big Show coming out with her, and he goes, "What are you going to do tonight?" And she said, "I'm going to kick some..." But then she didn't even do that. So... she didn't make any matches. She didn't do anything. She was a horrible guest host, but most of them were. So,
yeah, true.
And I'm not going to bring up who it was who, in storyline, created that whole ordeal of the guest hosts, but we know who he is, and we won't be dealing with him much longer. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay.
Go ahead.
Spoilers are about to follow, and if you don't like it, well, trust me, I'm doing you a favor with the spoilers that I'm going to give. I'm not going to fully spoil this.
Go ahead.
Because there's no way to anyway. It just makes no sense. last week I plugged Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yep.
I plugged it. I said, you know what? Everybody needs to go out and buy the DVD. And if you did it based on that, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm not sorry because you took somebody's word for it that told you they hadn't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. So, and I did say if I got it, I would try to watch it and review it on the show. Mm-hmm. And then I watched it yesterday, and I planned on, at first, I was like, you know what? This is going to be good. I saw the critic reviews. It's just as good as the first two. I said, all right, here we go. Mm-hmm. And about 5 minutes in, I started to see things were wrong when I was losing interest and actually checking how long I'd been watching it.
Yep.
And it was only 5 minutes in. This movie is not even just bad. It is so bad that it actually makes you question if you even actually like the first two, which I did because I rewatched them recently even. They're still good. To me, they still hold up. Mm-hmm. This movie decides to ignore all of the points from the first two that it wants and only acknowledge the ones that it wants to acknowledge.
Wow.
First of all, there's two things too that's missing that we were promised that are not here. One is the return of Billy the Kid. Remember when they were promising that?
Yeah.
He's not here. Socrates is not here either, by the way, but that wasn't totally promised. That was just mentioned in passing. But here's one that was mentioned more than once even, and I even mentioned it when he passed recently that he was in the movie. Eddie Van Halen. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with Eddie Van Halen in this movie. Not even a mention of him.
Wow.
What happened?
Yeah.
You know?
Tell me, please.
But going away from that, the music in this is so... I get that they're supposed to be bad and we're supposed to get that. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. When you're making a movie with bad musicians, don't torture your audience making them listen to long, extended versions of this bad playing.
Oh, wow.
And that's what they do here. We have to listen. I didn't time it, but if I had to guess, it was probably about a minute and a half, but it felt like 20 minutes of Bill and Ted playing a horrible rendition of something, just using everything from bagpipes to banging on a drum, just doing all this weird stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they pull out a horn, and it's horrible. And this is at a wedding, by the way, which online they said this was a bar mitzvah. It's actually a wedding, which is also when you know there's a problem when different people's reviews are different because they couldn't even tell what they were watching.
Yeah.
That's the one joke I had, and I'm going to use it because it's also a problem with the movie. It was funny as a concept, but it doesn't work. It ignores something.
Yeah.
Missy. She's back. First of all, you don't recognize her. She don't look like her.
Okay.
But apparently it is the same actress. I looked it up. But she don't look anything like her. Missy in the first movie is revealed that she's only a few years older than Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted, in this, they're trying to say they both asked her out to the prom. But in the first movie, we learned that only Bill asked her out to the prom. They never said anything about Ted. Mm-hmm. But here they're trying to say they both did. But then in the first movie, she's married to Bill's dad. And so she's Bill's stepmom. But Bill still has a crush on her. Remember this?
Yes, I remember.
So in the second movie, she divorced Bill's dad and married Ted's dad. So now she's Ted's stepdad. Yeah. And it's confusing enough. Yeah. But then at the end, in a newspaper gag, they said that she divorced Ted's dad and she married Chuck the Dominos, the bad guy from the movie.
Yep.
That's ignored. They actually don't mention that. Instead, they say that she divorced Ted's dad, and now she's getting married at the start of this movie, and Bill and Ted are playing the wedding.
Oh,
do you know who she marries?
Who does she marry?
Deacon.
What?
Ted's little brother, Deacon.
Oh, God.
Who we have not seen since the first movie, and he's a different actor apparently playing him too, but... So she married her younger stepson.
Yeah.
Who, when she was married to Ted's dad, he was like 12.
Yeah.
and now she's married to Deacon. That concept made me laugh,
Yeah.
but it still was like. And then the greatest thing from that
Hmm.
is like Ted's trying to explain it and tell his dad and all. Now you're your own son. So that's the only thing that made me laugh was that concept.
Wow.
But and that's right at the start of the movie, but then it goes downhill from there. And then again, that's not even great.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's chuckle funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing that's wrong with this movie, and you learn this right off the bat, it seems like Keanu Reeves just does not want to be there.
Hmm.
I don't know if he forgot how to portray Ted or what, but
Hmm.
he's just like so awkward in his mannerisms, in his voice, in his facial feature. He's just not there. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
No,
Like,
I mean, is he doing kind of like his Neo
it's almost
voice?
like he's doing a parody of Ted.
Yeah, but I mean, from the trailers that I seen, it was kind of like he was doing Neo trying to portray Ted.
Like I said, I think he forgot how to do it. And Alex Winter, I'll give the movie credit on this one thing.
Hmm.
Alex Winter is like full on trying to be Bill again. And he's not doing a bad job. It's just the writing for him is bad.
Hmm.
But as far as playing the character, I could buy it. It's Bill, but I don't feel like this is Ted. I feel like it's some other guy. I don't even feel like it's Keanu Reeves playing the part of Ted. It's not there. I would have been better off with Ted, the little teddy bear from Ted.
Yep. And
Make that Ted. At least then I would have got some laughs out of this movie.
Melissa says hi, so I just typed it back. So just to let you know.
I don't know if she was watching earlier and seen the shout out or not, but
But you know what? You want to do it again real quick, just in case?
well, we made a shout out earlier in case you missed it, Melissa. We did say that we wanted to give a shout out to our good friend Melissa, who's a loyal listener and always a big fan of the channel. And we said that you were super awesome and that your family is super awesome. We did say that.
Yes, we did.
And you can go back and see that later or hear that later.
Yep. All right, so
But
back to.
anyway, back to Bill and Ted. Um, okay. Tell me,
Yeah.
in Bill and Ted 1
Yep.
and 2, for that matter,
Hmm.
have we ever seen that Rufus was the head of the future?
No.
There was always another guy. In the first one, there was the Morpheus looking guy.
Yeah.
And in the second one, he was a teacher, but we never actually seen who was running the place, but he was just teaching things.
Yeah.
But we never seen that he was the head of the future.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So,
in the first one, if you remember, there was in the room in the future, there was like three people in this like basically on thrones, and the Morpheus looking guy is in the center.
yeah, and they tell him it is time and they send him back.
Yeah.
Now, in this, we learn he has a wife and a
Okay.
child who now has grown up,
Hmm.
and they are in charge of the future.
Okay.
When did that happen? Like, this girl shows up randomly and does the worst freaking read of the line, "Greetings, my excellent friend." She doesn't read it like that. You know how she reads it? She says, "Greetings, my excellent friends." It's horrible.
Wow.
It's like so cringy that the whole movie is cringy. But and then all of a sudden she's just like, "I am Kelly," and all of a sudden Bill and Ted know who she is. They go, "You're Rufus's daughter. We've always wanted to meet you." We, when have we ever heard of her?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that and if they're going to keep it canon of some sort, they should have mentioned it. Where from Bill and Ted 2 up to this one, they still had some kind of contact with each other, and but if in the end of the second movie, uh, it didn't look that way. It did not look like, okay, there's
Well,
gonna
here's the
be.
problem too with the end of the second movie. I think we're supposed to forget the whole end of the second movie, but part of that
Yeah.
I'll get into in a minute. But the newspaper stuff and them landing on the moon and playing Mars and bringing the world together,
Yeah.
it was already done in that montage at the end of the second movie.
Yeah, of course.
None of it is done in this movie.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that we saw is ignored. And again, that goes back to the newspaper of Missy getting married even.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just supposed to forget that whole scene exists.
Yeah, I mean, and if I remember from the trailer, I mean, their daughters, their daughters are.
I'm going to get to the daughters in a minute.
Okay, but if going back to the trailer and all of that, it's like, okay, they kind of hint at it. They kind of hint like, okay, well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do or something. But the fact that,
well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's so bad, dude. We learn that Bill and Ted have done nothing for the last 30 years, which again contradicts all of that stuff. Just like, remember at the end of the second movie when they went into the future to learn how to play, and they came back and said they were so good? Yep. How come now they can't play?
Exactly.
And they're playing so bad, like they never had talent, and they go, dude, what are we gonna do? And they're like, we've been trying to come up with the song all these years that would save the world, and we've got nothing. And now their daughters are like trying to help. I get them snippets of clips of songs and stuff to work with. And they're trying to write this song.
Is this like an alternate timeline type of thing?
Well, that's what people are trying to say, but that's not said ever. Now, here's another thing that makes no sense. Every time somebody travels through time in this movie, people randomly from different eras are showing up in the present day. Like Queen Elizabeth and George Washington. None of them have speaking lines. None of this is explained. Only way to explain this is they say that time will completely collapse unless Bill and Ted, within 75 minutes, which happens to be the length of the movie, within that time, they have to write the song and perform it. And the whole world has to hear it, or the whole world, not just like now, but ever, will implode and none of time will have ever existed. And this is why there's apparently a time warp with people time warping. Does any of that make sense?
No. It doesn't.
Okay, so I'm not alone on that.
No,
I'm going to get to a huge reveal later, by the way, that's going to make you blow your mind where you're going to want your head to explode. Okay. But I'll get to that in a minute.
I got a question. I got a question since we're talking about movies.
Okay.
Are you going to review this movie on the show, on at the movies?
Highly doubtful. I will probably get to the first two, and then the third one I will say I refuse to review.
Yeah, I mean, because it's crazy. It is crazy just to think, all of these
I
years.
can't make jokes. As I said, my review show is a joke show.
Yeah.
How can I make jokes about a movie that's a joke? The whole movie is a joke that it even exists.
I mean, all of these years of us, us as fans, right? We're waiting in anticipation for a third movie. They promised to us, it comes out, and it happens to be garbage.
They told us this was so good. They get to the girl Kelly, who's supposedly Rufus's daughter, comes back now and tells them that they need to do the song, which they're already trying to do. Mm-hmm. So they already know. But then she tells them they got 75 minutes. Now she shows up not in a phone booth, but an egg. Okay. It's like a giant egg.
So they switch it from a phone booth to an egg.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Like I said, it's so bad. So it's like a giant egg that she comes up in. And then she tells them they got 75 minutes to do this, and they need to come to the future with them. And they're like, they love us in the future. And they go there, and then her mom, Rufus's wife, is yelling at them. And they're like, dude, they hate us in the future. And I'm just like, this ain't funny. Yeah. I get where they were going with that, but that didn't land. But then, oh my God, they're telling them, oh, you need to do this now. Here's all that you need. And they give them a whole bunch of instruments. Okay. And I'm just like, really? And then instead of doing the instruments, the two of them decide hey, I got an idea. If there's a future, that means we already wrote the song. Let's go to the future and find ourselves and steal the song. But dude, ain't that stealing? Oh, but dude, it's not stealing if it's from ourselves.
Okay.
So let me bring up the Johnny Be Good.
Yeah.
Chuck Berry writes Johnny Be Good.
Of course.
But in Back to the Future, he didn't write Johnny Be Good because Marty performs it and then Marvin Berry, Chuck's cousin, calls him up and plays the song for him, so he gives him the inspiration.
Yeah.
But who wrote it now?
Marty.
But Marty didn't write it.
Yeah,
It doesn't exist.
There's that, yeah. But
if it doesn't exist, then Marty would have never heard it, and therefore Marty couldn't be playing it, and there's your paradox.
What? No, and that's the whole thing about the paradox stuff. Here's the thing that kind of ticks me off about some time travel movies and whatever, right? It's because of a paradox. There is that a time loop. There's a time loop of, okay, well, I heard, so for and I'm trying to remember. There's some scientists, that they do physics and all of that, and they talk about all, me, I'm a Trekkie, so I, but in all of this, it says that sometimes the effect comes before the cause. So it's like, they would explain is that for some reason Marty heard the song in order for him to come back to the past to play it, so that way Chuck can get it and then play it so Marty can. Is some weird thing that makes no sense to me. But
so it's basically the quantum leap. Sam goes back in time, teaches the moonwalk to Michael Jackson and all that different stuff that happened.
Exactly.
But, oh well. Anyway, so that's their plan, is that they're going to go in. They go 2 years into the future. Mm-hmm. And they find themselves who are avoiding them. Yeah. They're like they're playing this club, and then they run away from themselves because they don't want to see their former selves. Yeah. And then they catch up to them, and Ted is now a drunk, and both of them are now jerks, and they're jerks to themselves even. Mm-hmm. And they even tell them, "You guys are a bunch of losers, man. You lost your wives and all," because they went to. By the way, they go to marriage counseling, and I forget her name. She's hilarious. I think Julian Bell. I think maybe I forget her name. Mm-hmm. She's from The Night Before. She was in Fist Fight. She was in Curb Your Enthusiasm before. She's a great upcoming actress. Mm-hmm. Really funny. Not here. Not funny. They don't give her a line of a joke whatsoever. They play her as a serious character. Mm-hmm. Why would you take a comedian and give them a serious role?
Exactly.
Unless you're trying to do it in an ironic way for humor. Don't do it. Give a serious role, But I digress. To steal one of Jim's lines. So yeah, they're doing marriage counseling, and the problem is because Bill and Ted, they're supposed to do this separate, and they do it together, and like they can't say "I love you" to their wives. Instead, they say, "We love you, princesses." Mm-hmm. Like Ted and I love you, and Joanna, and they can't like do just individual, which is really stupid and not funny. And this goes on for like 15 minutes, by the way. Mm. And finally, we learn the princesses want to leave. But then the therapist, she learns that the princesses are from the 14th century. And like, she's freaked out. And then, like I said, weird stuff happens. George Washington appears on her couch and she runs away screaming. Nothing makes any sense in this movie. And then the princesses get this idea to go through time to try and find a future version of Bill and Ted that they can live with.
Yeah.
How did they get a booth? They just end up with a booth. Yes, the phone booth appears for them. Bill and Ted in the future, by the way, they decide instead of taking the egg, they take the phone booth. Now, here's the problem, too, with that.
Yeah.
The phone booth they take is the broken phone booth from the first movie. Remember the one they broke and fixed?
Yeah, well, they try to fix with the cans and string and all that.
Yeah, the cans and the gum are missing. It's just a broken booth again.
Okay.
And yet, nothing happens, by the way, with that. It's just, I guess for nostalgia, they wanted to make it that way.
Okay.
I would have had them, if I was writing this movie, I would have had them get in that phone booth like it's a museum up there in the future. Why it would be there. That's how I would do it. Yep. Have them get in, try to make a call, and it would say, "We're sorry, phone booths no longer exist," and it doesn't work, and so they have to take the new booth. Yeah. That's what I would have did. It's a funny joke. It works for nostalgia still. It's purpose. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But no, instead, we don't get jokes. We get things that make no sense in this movie. So then Kelly goes back to Earth because her mother, by the way, gets the idea, okay, Bill and Ted left, so now I'm going to kill Bill and Ted, and that's the only way to save the world.
Okay.
If that were the case, then why didn't they just let them stay dead in Bogus Journey?
Exactly.
How is killing them going to save the world? So she sends a robot back. You've watched Gotham, right?
Yeah.
Remember the character Victor?
Yeah.
The head mafia guy?
Yeah.
Here, did you ever think to yourself, let's dress him up like Mr. Freeze, call him a robot, and have him do a bunch of stupid things like say over and over again, "My name is Dennis."
I mean, the actor Anthony Kerrigan. Okay.
Wow, you looked that up that fast, huh?
Well, I have the Wikipedia pulled online.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay, so, I mean, wow. So he's dressed up.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, but to put him in like a Mr. Freeze, I mean, come on, that was the mistake that they made with Arnold.
Dude, look up this outfit. And tell me you don't see Mr. Freeze. That's all I kept seeing was Mr. Freeze. Mm-hmm. And even his little laser that he shoots is blue ice like Mr. Freeze. I was waiting for him to make a joke like, all right, freeze or chill. I was waiting for those references.
Oh, gosh.
This is supposed to be a robot. Do you see it?
Yeah. It's like a mix of like Mr. Freeze and oh my gosh, you ever seen the movie the Time Machine? Not the original movie, but the new one that came out.
I did not bother watching the new one. I love the Time Machine. I love the book. H.G. Wells. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Love the original movie.
You gotta see.
Don't care to see the newer one.
No, you gotta see the new one. The new one is not that bad. It's pretty decent. The guy that plays the orc. Anyway, so Dennis looks like a mix of Mr. Freeze and the orc from the Time Machine.
Part of his head even looks like Death from this movie.
Yeah, it's like.
I noticed that when they're in the same scenes together, I was like, "Holy crap, they got the same freaking head."
Yeah,
what, does he in any way though look like a robot?
No.
He looks like a guy in a suit.
Yeah, like he's in a space suit or something.
He's a robot.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He's been sent back to kill Bill and Ted, so he's going around killing everybody. Not just Bill and Ted, he's killing everybody. He kills the dad. And the dad goes down and falls through by the way, the long hole to go down there.
Yeah.
It takes about 10 seconds to get there now. And it's just a bunch of solid rock down there with some lava.
Wow.
All the flames, all the cool look. We are in a futuristic time now. We're not in 1991. We can do so much digital effects. Yeah. You and I included.
Yeah.
They couldn't make that area look better. It looks like a green screen.
Yeah. I mean,
my effects look better than this movie.
I'm actually looking.
It's terrible.
I'm actually looking at some of the scenes now.
And there's no devil.
Yeah.
You know what would have been interesting? Have Ted's dad go down there. Have him go through the doors like his kid did and see like his own versions of that. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah.
This has none of that. And then they all go there.
Okay.
All of them. The kids, the wives, everybody goes down there. Even the robot.
Wow.
And all they do while they're down there is just go to Deft's room.
Yeah.
And Deft is upset because remember, Deft joined the band.
Yeah.
Deft apparently was doing 45-minute bass solos, which he says is the only reason the audience was there because they sucked and couldn't play.
Yep.
And he did his solo album, which they showed that in those newspapers. So, okay, now the newspapers are making some sense. But they showed that, and apparently he tried to get his own merchandising, and he tried to steal the name Wild Stallions from them, so they sued him.
Wow.
They sent a lawyer down there. I guess they're allowed to get there because they're lawyers, so they have their own transporting way. I don't know. But they sent a lawyer down there to subpoena Deft to go to court, and they took him to court, and they sued him.
Yep. Sorry.
So now he's mad at Bill and Ted.
For the audience listening, I accidentally pressed a YouTube video. No, but seriously, oh my gosh, man, that is like, wow.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So then the daughters, they go on their own little quest.
Yeah.
They get the egg transporter from Kelly, Rufus's daughter, and they decide to create a band that will sing their dad's song that they're going to write.
Okay.
And so they go back in time and they meet Jimi Hendrix, who wants nothing to do with them. And then they record him, though, with their cell phone. And they say, oh, well, he doesn't trust us because he doesn't know our dads, but let's go find somebody he would know. So they go back to like 1922 and find Louis Armstrong.
Okay.
And this guy looks nothing like Louis Armstrong, but he's supposed to be Louis Armstrong. And they show Louis Armstrong the video footage of Jimi Hendrix, and he's more amazed by the concept of a cell phone.
Yeah.
He's like trying to find out where the screen is, because remember, this is before television even.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out, like, he's like looking at the back of it. He's like, how do they fit inside this little thing? And he's calling over all his other musicians, take a look at this. And he's like amazed by that instead of even looking at Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
So then they bring him back to Jimi Hendrix, and Jimi Hendrix is like, man, Louis Armstrong's like 50 years old. That ain't Louis Armstrong. You don't even buy it anyway.
Yeah.
But then he starts playing his horn, and Jimi Hendrix is like, he's good. So the two of them agree to be part of the band. And then they go and they get some person who plays a flute in Japan or China, somewhere like that. And then they go and get Mozart. And this is supposed to be like filling our nostalgia, but instead it's just stupid. And none of us care. And then, of course, no band would be complete.
Yep.
Filled with the greatest musicians of all. Without one person. You know who I'm talking about?
Talking about the kid?
Kid Cudi.
Yep.
Who the heck is Kid Cudi?
You know, it's funny because, okay, how can I put this? When I first heard that Kid Cudi was, might as well change it to Cooties. I don't know, because I don't want to be around them. But when I first heard about Kid Cudi being in the movie, I'm like, who in the world is Kid Cudi? You know, and apparently he's a rapper, singer, songwriter, whatever. You
want to know what he is in the movie?
Go ahead, say it, man.
He is Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
But he's somebody else. He's somebody we know. He's already been in the movie series.
Okay. Who is he supposed to be?
He ends up being this genius who knows everything about quantum physics. And then when he's leaving them at the end, he says the line. Now, I'm not saying he's this guy. I'll explain that in a minute. But he says station.
Oh, wow.
Now, he's not the Martian, which some people have mistakenly think, because remember at the beginning of the second movie when we see some of the musicians, they even say station. So it's a line that's just used in the future.
Yeah.
But this means Kid Cudi is from the future, and he's a genius from the future.
Yeah.
Who knows everything about quantum physics.
Wow.
Does Kid Cudi actually have a degree? I looked him up, and I don't see where he's got any of that. So I don't get it. Because he's playing himself. That's why it makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, other than some music awards, let me see if I can find anything as far as for school.
Well, why don't you do that? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you go 2 years in the future, as I said, Bill and Ted do, and they find themselves and they don't know anything, they're drunken idiots, would they know anything a few years later, those same guys? Do you think?
Wow, probably.
Do you think they finally wrote it?
I would.
So they go a few more
I would
years
think
into the
so.
future,
Yeah.
and they find themselves in a mansion.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, we did it. Look, we made it. And Bill and Ted are dressed like 70s rock stars. Again, this is the future. And they're dressed like 70s rock stars. And Bill, like I said, Alex Winter, he's an amazing actor in this movie. It's buyable, but it doesn't feel like Bill and Ted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're going on and on about how they wrote it, and they give Bill and Ted, the younger Bill and Ted, they give them a version of the CD of the song and say, here, go bring this back. This is the song. As they're leaving the mansion, they run into a guy I've never heard of, but apparently he's a famous music writer and all, named David Grohl.
Okay.
Who is David Grohl? Why can they not have people in this movie I've heard of?
They're using.
So apparently David Grohl wrote the song, and David Grohl now is like, who are you? Why are you in my mansion?
Yeah.
And they bail, they leave, but the older now, the future versions of themselves are still there, so they get arrested. So now Bill and Ted travel further into the future, where now themselves are in jail for stealing the song from David Grohl.
Wow.
And this is the one that everybody's seen on the trailers and all the steroid versions of themselves.
Oh, David Grohl. He was now I remember. He was the drummer for Nirvana, and he founded a band.
See, I like Nirvana, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the drummer, and he was also he founded the band Foo Fighters.
Okay, well, if your name is not Kurt Cobain, I have no idea who you are from Nirvana.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody else.
I was thinking, where did I hear the name before? Oh yeah, that's right, Nirvana and Foo Fighters, and but you know, it makes, but at least with him there saying that he wrote the song or whatever, you know, at least in my mind, it kind of that's feasible.
Yeah, okay, but then they go to this prison. And then they run into their wives, because like I said, their wives are traveling through time too. And it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But they're just like, get out of here. We're going to die. The robot's here. And then the robot tries to kill the versions. And then all of a sudden now, because earlier, like I said, the older versions from the future, they're trying to sabotage Bill and Ted, which makes no sense. Why are you trying to sabotage yourselves? But now in prison, they're like, dude, we can't let them die or we'll die. So they go and attack the robot, and it's stupid. So Bill and Ted escape from that as well. Now, somebody online said this is alternate universes they keep traveling to. But if that's the case, how come every time the future versions remember the other incidents? They wouldn't remember if it's alternate universes.
Exactly.
It's not alternate universe. It's just further into the future.
Exactly.
So then they go and they're still trying to figure out this song, and they go to the future where they're now in a retirement home about to die.
Wow.
And they're talking like really low and toned and all because they're supposed to die. And they hand them a little flash drive thingy that plays music. So it's not a flash drive. I don't know what it is. I guess it's a futuristic thing. And the song that they hand them is called Face the Music.
Okay.
And it's written by Logan and Preston. And right at that point, I figured out the whole story, where it's going.
Okay.
Did you figure it out yet?
I'm assuming the girls wrote it?
The daughters. Logan and Preston. It doesn't say Bill and Ted. It says Logan and Preston.
Exactly.
The last names.
Exactly.
And all through that beginning sequence, remember we saw, as I said, that the daughters keep writing little snippets of music and handing it to their dads. So they go to the future, the past, whatever the heck they're at now, and they try to play the song, and they can't play it because they don't have it, because Bill broke it so that they would set the robot wouldn't kill them because they had the song.
Yeah.
And he already killed everybody else, so they had to go down as well. So they broke the little flash drive thingy, so he would kill them. and they would go down there. So now they have it, but it's broken, and they're like, how do we put it back together? And then they realize by holding pieces, wait a minute, Bill, it's Preston and Logan. It's not us. It's them. And they pass it on to the daughters. Now let's get to the daughters for a bit here. And I'm going to wrap this up because I know we're missing our other discussion. But the daughters are like these two actresses that are trying to play not the daughters. They're trying to actually play Bill and Ted.
Yep.
And this is where I go into my line of that. It's like this is a reboot disguised as a sequel. They're trying to be Bill and Ted, especially the Ted girl, who's actually Bill's daughter, which is also confusing. At the end of Bill and Ted 2, tell me those were not boys that they had, by the way, when they said this little Bill and little Ted?
No, exactly. No, they were boys.
Because they tried to play that off by having Ted's dad in this say, remember how you thought you were cute calling them little Bill and little Ted? He goes, well, they are just like you. They're 25 years old, they live at home, and they don't work, and they don't do anything all day. And I'm like, first of all, these girls don't look 25. Right. They don't. They look like they're like 18 and 19 years old. Yeah. I don't know how old they are in real life. Wow. But they don't look 25 years old.
I can check real quick.
It also makes no sense to me, too, that they're 25 and Bill and Ted's supposed to be in their 30s, they're saying, which they're clearly in their 40s, but they're saying 30s.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
That would mean they had them when they were 10, which they didn't because they were older than that.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like I said, none of this movie makes any sense.
Yeah.
So then they play this song, and it's horrible. It's not even lyrics. It's just a beat. Yep. Sounds like it was made by a synchronizer with some dubstep thrown in. And then they go through time to all these different people handing out instruments, making them all play the same song at the same time to save the universe.
They're in their 20s.
And then they even hand Missy and Deacon some instruments, and Deacon's just like, yeah, man, all right. And then he goes into a saxophone solo. And I'm just like cringing at this whole thing. I'm like, I paid money for this. Yeah. This is what I'm getting here.
You bought it brand spanking new, bro.
It's... Like I said, it's beyond bad.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even have an ending. When the music is done playing that, because it started off with like a diary being read by Bill's daughter or Ted's daughter. I don't even know at this point. So one of the daughters is reading this diary, and then she starts reading it again, saying that in the end, it didn't really matter because we wrote the song. And then it goes to this scene of just real life musicians playing music, but with the song that they wrote playing. So like we even see Weird Al appear out of nowhere.
Yep. Wow.
And I'm like, why wasn't he in the movie? He could have added some humor. They put him in the credits sequence with no speaking line. And I'm like, this is the movie? This is what I just watched. I feel like the people who wrote this, they should have been serving the hard time instead of the Bill and Ted characters that were. And Bill and Ted are pushed into the sideline as these two guys who can't do anything. And then, like I said, the reveal that Bill and Ted were never actually the saviors, and Rufus only came to help them so that they could give birth to the people who did it. It's like a Terminator thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's stupid. I can't, I hate to say it, but it's true. The last 2 years, we have seen a trend of this. Mm-hmm. Every old movie from the past is being pushed into propaganda of women casts. Mm-hmm. More than 2 years, actually, because Ghostbusters 2016 did the same thing.
Yep.
An all-female cast. Mm-hmm. An all-female cast of Expendables was on the way, called Expendables or Bells. Expendables
with an E. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that didn't happen, but then they did the Ocean's 11 one that they made, and then Terminator Dark Fate, they decided to kill off John Connor and make a female version girl who's going to be the savior. Mm-hmm. And that movie was lined with Sarah Connor and then that other female Terminator robot helping them. noticed it was all females. And I'm not against that because I love Terminator Dark Fate. I thought it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against an all-female thing. Why do we have to remake all the old movies and make all the men look like idiots and make the women out to be the superiors? Why are we doing this? Why can't we just leave those alone and make new movies where the women are the superiors?
No,
I'm fine with that.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, if you're gonna have, don't ruin the classics. I mean, don't ruin the classics. Leave the classics.
You don't see
alone.
us making Tomb Raider with a guy.
Right? No, but I'm saying don't ruin the classics. Don't ruin the classics. And if you're gonna have an all-female cast, being the butt kickers, being the ass kickers, and being in control and in charge. Okay, but be original. Be original.
Yes, exactly. It's like there's no need for this to ruin all our favorite movies with these freaking propaganda films, and they're doing it left and right lately.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna put them on a pedestal, I mean, which they deserve, they deserve to be put on a pedestal as leaders and butt kickers. Give them a proper pedestal. Give them a proper pedestal.
Wonder Woman. Look at what they did with that. Tremendous freaking movie.
Yes. Exactly. Wonder Woman.
That's a character that was originally a damsel in distress character that was created for a sicko who enjoyed bondage.
Yeah. Or
that's what Wonder Woman was created as.
Or the Captain Marvel movie.
I didn't see that, so I can't judge that.
Okay, well, I'm just basing it off the comic book, and then now with the death of Black Panther, they have to bring a new one. In the comic book, it's his sister. They're in the talks of bringing it, using his sister, the actress that played his sister. And
at one point, the new MacGyver show that's on TV was in the works for a female MacGyver even.
Wow.
It's like, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
I mean, give.
We don't need this.
Yeah.
It sounds like somebody's sick fetish that had a crush on these characters and wanted to see what they look like as females. That's what I'm getting the vibe from.
No,
I'm not getting women in power. I'm seeing some sicko going, hey, I wonder what Bill and Ted would look like if they were girls.
Yeah.
That still call each other dudes.
Yeah.
But they're girls. And that's how this movie came about.
Yeah.
Because Ed Solomon made this movie too. I was like, what happened to him? He created 2 great movies.
Yeah.
And then he gave us this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he paid the critics to say that it was just like the first 2, but come on.
Yeah.
Not even close. None of the fun is there. None of the passion is there. Daft is down below. He's playing freaking little kids games like hopscotch and a tether ball with himself. That's not even nostalgia. That's just dumb.
Yeah. I agree.
And then I mentioned too the hologram. That's right. Mm-hmm. They got a hologram of Rufus. They dubbed over some actor doing a sound-alike of George Carlin to add new dialogue to the hologram.
Okay.
It's very quick and pointless. And just for hoping that somebody would go, oh, cool, look who's in this. That's what I think they were hoping for. Wow. Instead, they got to leave him out of it. That's what I felt. Just leave him out of this.
Wow.
But we've talked enough about Bill and Ted. Let's move on to the main discussion, if we even still have listeners at this point.
Right.
Last week we were talking about video games. This week we're going to continue that. We talked about a couple of the fighting games last week, so we don't have to mention those ones. Mm-hmm. But right off the bat, we'll mention Street Fighter since we're going to do that thumbnail.
Right.
So we'll mention Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a great game, but come on, let's be real. Nobody plays Street Fighter.
Yep.
Everybody plays one way or the other. There's many incarnations, but Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition. Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. Mm-hmm. There was even the bootleg Street Fighter Rainbow Edition, which actually spawned new Street Fighter games because of that game. But there's so many Street Fighter 2s
Yep.
that's the game that everybody talks about.
Yep.
The original Street Fighter 2 that came out on Super Nintendo, we did not get that on Sega Genesis. We got a different game called Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition, and this is the version that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not as good as the one on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Any talk on this from you?
Well, I mean, as far as Street Fighter, I had it on. Oh my gosh, I had it on Sega.
That's the Tournament Edition one.
Yeah.
That's the one I have.
Yeah, I had that one. As far as, and that was the only one I had as far as Street Fighter for a long time. If I was gonna play Street Fighter, I would go to the arcade when arcades were a thing, But no, it's as far as Street Fighter 2, the Tournament Edition. That's the only one that I played.
Are you aware of how the Japan version is different from the American version?
No, I don't. I'm not aware.
Okay. So the character we all know
you gotta remember, I was poor.
the character we all know as M. Bison.
Yep.
It's not M. Bison in the Japanese version.
Okay.
That is Vega.
Okay.
That is Vega. The Vega that we all know, the one with the mask,
Yeah.
in the Japan version, is Balrog.
Okay.
Now, if you're wondering why this is all a thing, I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
And you will know in a minute when I mention this.
Yep.
You know who Balrog is, right?
I forgot. I'm calling.
He's the boxing guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In the Japan version, there's a reason that this boxer is in the game.
Okay.
He is M. Bison.
Okay.
Get it? What does it rhyme with?
Tyson.
M. Bison is actually M. Tyson, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And he's a boxer. The American version was afraid of being sued by Tyson, so they decided to just randomize the names and give the M. Bison name to Vega, give Vega to Balrog, and then give Balrog the boxer name.
Wow.
Yeah. Puts a whole new perspective on the game.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
By the way, speaking of Vega, I gotta mention, I know she just got released yesterday, Zelina Vega, but Royal Rumble a few years back, Zelina Vega did this amazing thing where she came out dressed as Vega from Street Fighter.
She had the
Corey
mask
Graves, by the way, had the line of the night with, Vega never looked so good. But no, it was amazing. She came out with the freaking thing on her hand, and she had the mask. And,
it was perfect.
She was doing all the mannerisms of Vega. It was such a cool tribute.
Oh, it was perfect.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And it worked because of her name, Vega. Yeah. So it just worked.
Oh, I agree.
Great stuff.
Definitely.
But, so even the Street Fighter movie, which came out in the States, in Japan, this is more of your crazy stuff here.
Same thing.
In Japan, people were highly confused by the name changes.
Yeah.
And there was talk that originally they were going to actually change the names to what they were supposed to be for the Japanese version. I don't think that actually happened, though. I'm not too sure on that. I did not do my research.
I mean, okay. I mean, here, if they're going to, I mean, obviously, when they're dubbing over for and the different languages to for different countries and whatever, they could have done that. They could have easily done that.
Yeah, it would have been totally different thing though, because they would have had to change all the dialogue from Guile saying Bison to Vega.
Yeah.
And just even the chanting during the fight scene with Vega in the cage when they're all chanting Vega, Vega, they would have had to change that to Balrog, Balrog.
Yeah. No,
it would have been so much dubbing over.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to making movies, it's not like they record they use the microphone from the camera to record the
Oh, I know
audio.
that. They dub in the lines after that. I know that.
Yeah, it's like it's
It
I
was
mean
much more noticeable in those older films too than it is in the newer ones.
yeah. I mean, they use a separate mic and a separate recorder and all that stuff and whatever.
Well,
I
they
mean,
would say their lines,
yeah,
so they were at least lip syncing it right. But
yeah. No, but I mean, yeah. I
they've
mean,
added dialogue and changed dialogue.
yeah.
In fact, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm
Go ahead.
just gonna say this one thing. But in the Goonies, there's
Mm-hmm.
actually a funny thing with that. And when you listen to Mouth,
Mm-hmm.
played by Corey Feldman,
Mm-hmm.
when he's sitting on the sink and he's giving this line that makes no sense, it's because it was forced to be changed
Yeah.
after the fact, so it just doesn't even look or sound right when he says, "There's no way, man, because then her mom's got to drive, and then you got to make it with her and her mom." And that line, it doesn't match what he's saying. And
Yeah.
I don't know what he actually said. If I
Yeah.
ever got Corey Feldman, he probably wouldn't remember anyway because he's so doped up. But I would love to hear him tell me what the heck was the original line.
You would have to you would
That
have
it
to
was
get
so
the original.
bad.
Yeah, you would have to get the original script for that.
Because it's like that line in itself is bad. So what was the original line that they had to
Right.
change it to that?
Unless he was cursing like crazy or something in that line, they wanted to kind of
I
switch
don't
it.
know, but it's definitely like one of those moments. Like, what did he
Yeah.
say?
No, I mean, if you think about it, right, it'll be, they're gonna be, if they're gonna switch the characters and dub it over on a Street Fighter, it's not gonna match up, they'll say Vega instead of, and Bison or whatever, and it'll be like he's saying M Bison, the mouth saying M Bison, but then in Japanese Vega.
General Bison's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Vega is a bad guy.
Yeah.
It
I,
just wouldn't be the same.
I wa-
You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you get so, I mean, you get so used to, especially, with the American culture and everything in English is like, we get used to what we know to be true, and then you find out that it's actually totally different in another country or something. It's just wow.
Speaking of this, and this is where we're getting back to video games
Yeah.
because this movie is connected to a video game.
Yep.
They did make a video game based on the movie.
What?
They made two of them actually. They made the arcade game and then they made the home ports.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember the arcade game.
Street Fighter, the movie, the
The
game.
game. Yeah, I remember that.
So
I don't remember
you
the
took
home
a
port.
movie
Yeah.
that was based on a game, and then you made a game.
Based off of the movie.
You put a hat on a hat to quote
Yeah.
Jim. Now, here's why it's funny, though.
Yeah.
It was done in the same type of way that they made Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
And originally, Jean-Claude Van Damme was contacted to play Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat movie, which he turned down to play Guile in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So he's Guile now in this game that's in the format of like a Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah. I mean,
Can you imagine if he just played Johnny Cage and then went to do another Mortal Kombat game himself?
Well, here's the thing: is as far as I understand it, and I could be wrong. They based the Johnny Cage character.
Johnny Cage was based off of Jean-Claude Van Damme, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They based off of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, the whole look and everything. So, the fact that he said no. I mean, Guile. If you in the original games, he had that huge, that huge eraser.
The
head
hairdo.
hair. Yeah, the huge eraser head hairdo. And
See, honestly, and I know people are going to think it's crazy, but I think that Guile in the movie should have been Dolph Lundgren.
I know. I agree with you on that.
I know that people would be like, no way, he can't do those martial arts kicks. Most of those martial arts kicks they got, I mean, think about it. Like when he does the sonic boom and the spin kicks, that's all wires anyway. They could have got a stunt double.
Yeah.
And had, I don't know, I just see it being Lundgren. That's Guile.
Well, Lundgren has the look. Number one.
Yes.
He has blonde hair. Okay,
You can't remake it now, obviously, because
no.
now, obviously, Lundgren can't play the
Oh
part
yeah, no,
today. But if
no.
I could go
But
back in time,
I would
get
totally
myself
switch
one
it.
of those eggs or phone booths,
Right?
and go
Yeah.
back,
I know.
I would totally remake Street Fighter with different people because
Oh
I
yeah.
think casting was a huge problem with the movie.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the Street Fighter movie, but for all the wrong reasons. And yes, I will be reviewing Street Fighter eventually. I have to.
awesome. Yeah, you got to. No, but I mean, again, Dolph Lundgren would have been perfect. He has the look. He has the look. And it's okay. If Guile is supposed to be this all-American soldier, and Jean Claude Van Damme with his accent, made the movie, right? Then and this is for the people that are talking about the accents that Dolph Lundgren has and whatever. Uh, Dolph Lundgren could have easily done it. And if anything, he does an American accent better than Jean Claude Van Damme does.
Not only that, but yeah, at the same time, we'd never actually had heard him speak at that point.
Hmm.
Guile, he didn't speak in the video games.
No, he didn't. No, but still, it's the
So,
fact that he's supposed to be this all-American soldier type guy. You would assume he has the American accent, not wherever Jean Claude Van Damme is from. I'm sorry.
yeah, exactly. He's not American either, so don't even use that as the argument.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things of like, okay, well, Jean Claude Van Damme's not an American. He doesn't have an American accent. But Dolph Lundgren, he can definitely. I've actually heard him in a couple like B movies where he's done the American accent. He does it perfectly.
And
And he has the look.
I
Again.
talk about miscasting. I really feel bad when you think about Kylie Minogue.
Okay. Yeah.
Because first she's cast in this movie as Cammy, which just doesn't work to me.
I agree.
She doesn't fit the role. And then she ended up on Biodome.
Yeah.
Father disowned her after that almost. He was like, I can't even get over that role. He was like so upset that she did Biodome.
Yeah, that was just crazy. Don't get me wrong. I like Biodome, but for for the wrong reasons too. Like other movies, but.
Well, honestly,
Yeah.
I think that there should have been a transfer.
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue
Yeah.
and Bridget Wilson should have switched places.
Oh,
Bridget Wilson would have made a great Cammy.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. She
And
has
Kylie Minogue would have made a great Sonya Blade.
No, yeah, I agree.
Now, at the same time, though, I think Bridget Wilson did a good job as Sonya Blade, and it's underrated.
Yep.
But at the same time, I still think Kylie Minogue would have did it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she had the fighting style down cold,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just my opinions on that.
I agree with you on that. It's just
and Zelina Vega would have made a great Melina.
right. No, here's the thing: is that I'm trying to remember because now you mentioned with Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat movie.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat, all the girls, why they wear veils?
Why?
You actually see it in the games in some of the fatalities. All the girls have Baraka's face.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They all have those fang things. So everybody who has like their fantasies of freaking, with the exception of Sonya Blade, because she don't have the veil.
Yeah.
But Melina and Katana, they both have those fangs. So if you have that, imagine that going on you down there.
Right. Well, no, I'm not gonna get into it because this is a family-friendly show. But
yeah, I know that's why I didn't go too far into that.
No, but as I was saying, from the Mortal Kombat, right? It's like
talk about a fatality,
right? If you remember in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, they switched the Sonya Blade character, and it was Sandra Hess.
Oh, they switched every character in Annihilation except for Liu Kang.
Yeah, exactly.
just to save time.
no, yeah. Of course, and then they added a couple, but Sandra Hess did a terrible job as Sonya Blade, in my opinion. Again, Kylie Minogue would have been perfect, um,
Yeah, but you know what? With
yeah,
Annihilation,
yeah,
we should just annihilate that movie in general and forget the whole movie exists.
yeah. Well,
Everything about that movie was bad.
don't get me wrong. I like the fact that James Remar is rating because I'm a big fan of his, but it's not the same
Wait,
as
you actually liked him as Raiden, though?
no, only not as Raiden, but the fact that he was in it.
I love him as an actor. He's
Yeah,
great. He's great in 48 Hours. He's
yeah,
great in everything,
yeah, exactly.
but not that.
He was. He's great in the Black Lightning show. But he's no Christopher Lambert.
Well, the funny thing was that what's his name? Ed Boon, the
Yep,
creator of Mortal Kombat.
yep,
Ed Boon, right?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that's something like that.
Yeah, he was like livid that they put Christopher Lambert as Raiden in the first Mortal Kombat.
Who did he want?
He was like, the character's not supposed to be the Highlander. Well, because the character, if you don't know, it's
Yeah,
based off the lightning god from Big Trouble in Little China.
yeah, yeah,
That's what the character's based on.
yeah. Of course.
So he felt like they should try and get like a Japanese actor to play Raiden.
Well, I can see it. I can see why.
Because he's voiced by Ed Boon in the games.
Okay.
Ed Boon did most of the voices in the games, though.
Okay.
His voice appears all through that game.
Okay. Melissa's saying that she can't hear me, so I'm going to speak louder I'm going to speak into the microphone. Is that because Melissa? I apologize. Is that because with all my equipment and everything, I can't have the microphone too close. But I will speak louder, and I will be able and at least clip the microphone onto me. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, there we go. We've talked about Street Fighter. We've talked about Mortal Kombat. But I do want to go back to Street Fighter for a minute just to
Okay.
say I am probably the only person on
Yep.
this planet
Yep.
that enjoys Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
No, I enjoy it. I thought that was really good.
Everybody hates it. I like it.
No,
To me, but again, because I like the movie, and the
Yeah.
game reminds me of the movie. It's like playing the movie.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I was a big fan of the movie myself.
I can't wait to review that. By the way, that's got to be reviewed eventually. Once these holidays are over, that's one of the top priorities to do Street Fighter.
Yep. Yep.
I have so many stories. Like, dude, when I first saw the movie, I rented it on pay-per-view. That was a thing back then.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
And I was so excited to see it. We ordered it on pay-per-view. It's the first movie, by the way, I ever ordered on pay-per-view.
Yeah,
First movie.
Mine was Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas I saw in the movie theater. But
No, for me,
Street Fighter, nobody would take me to see it in the theater. And then when it came on pay-per-view, we ordered it on pay-per-view. And I was so excited. I was like, dude, that was my movie. I would put it on over and over again. And I still laugh at it. It's so hilarious. Everything about it is so good. It's so bad that it's so good.
Now, when you rented Street Fighter, did you do it on a holiday?
No.
Okay, because a lot of the cable companies, and I don't know what cable company you had at the time, but a lot of the cable companies, what they did is that on holidays, if you rent a movie, it would play all day for the whole day for it to 20.
Well, this couldn't do that because it was where they had like set times and other movies came on.
No, yeah, exactly.
Like after.
No, yeah, exactly.
Because actually, I remember this.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I actually remember this. We ordered that movie, and then my mom decided to order the movie that came on like right after it. It was Man of the House with Chevy Chase and Farrah Fawcett and Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, I remember. That was a good movie. I liked it. I love that movie.
It has nothing to do with Street Fighter, but it is in this sense. That's how you connect that movie to that movie.
I do love Man of the House. That is a great movie. But
I don't remember much about it at all. I just remember that it was we saw it right after Street Fighter.
Oh, you got to see it. You got to see it.
By the way, interesting fun fact on the Street Fighter movies: the outfits that the Bison Troopers wear is the exact same outfits that the Chain Gang wears in Surf Ninjas. They reuse the same props.
I did. I noticed that. I noticed that. I did notice it.
Last week during our video game discussion, we mentioned how in Mario Brothers they reused the props for the boots with the Undertaker character in Suburban Commando.
Yep.
And now this week in the video game discussion, we're mentioning more prop connections.
Well, again, if it's a good way to save money. It's a go, for studios to save money, and shoot, I would do it. I mean, I'm working on with my own stuff. I'm working on different scripts and what have you, and I'm gonna be reusing a lot of a lot of things. If I build props like walls or whatever, I'm gonna reuse that. I mean, it's a good way for movie companies and producers to save money. So why not? I mean, if there's a superhero movie or a video game movie, right? Yes, I believe Raul Julia is in Street Fighters. Sorry, somebody asked that
So I just
question.
got a text saying I can't hear Josh's responses on the live. It's low and muffled when he talks. I commented, but he didn't see it.
No,
And I said he saw it and he mentioned it. YouTube has a delay.
there we go.
So hopefully, if she didn't hear your response, she'll hear mine when it comes up because she said maybe when I checked on here, she said I got off to text you. So maybe he said that when I got off.
Yeah,
Well, so I've heard this at least.
yeah.
So
No, but
hopefully we got that taken care of.
yeah,
I know I hear that a lot from people. Our viewers every week say, "I hear you just fine. I never hear Josh."
yeah. No,
Or I'm sorry, CT Bishop.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hey, that's fine.
My
No,
bad.
no, it's all good. No, but actually, I'm gonna be getting a brand new USB microphone, so that way I don't have to worry about that, cause I could just have it's gonna pick up my audio clearly. The microphone I'm using is part of a headset, and unless I have it close to my mouth, it doesn't pick up my audio clearly for like podcasts. So yeah. So I'll be having a USB microphone, and that will pick me up clearly, so we won't have that issue ever again.
There you go.
And apparently, she still can't hear me. I don't know why. I
Hmm.
raised the volume
I
on
don't know. She
this.
said you're muffled too.
Well, it's probably because I'm slurring. Because I'm slurring, and if and that's because of my medication. So if you hear I'm kind of muffled, again, it's the microphone, along with the fact that I'm slurring because
I know I hear
my
you just
meds.
fine, but
Oh yeah, yeah, but that doesn't translate to the
right.
podcast for some reason. I don't know why.
But anyway, back to fighting games.
Yeah.
So other fighting games, I have to mention Streets of Rage.
Yep.
I never played this game growing up,
Mhm.
but I played it as an adult. And this is an okay game, but I don't know because I didn't get into it back then.
Mhm.
To me, I'd rather play like a Street Fighter or like as far as beat 'em ups go. I'm not a huge fan of the beat 'em up franchise, like that genre.
Yep. I
Like I
hear
know
you.
everybody talks about Final Fight,
Okay.
and you're aware of Final Fight, right?
I remember Final Fight. I don't remember playing it much, but I do remember.
Like Andre the Giant is in it,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
and there's like a ton of them though. It's just it's weird. I never even heard of it until recently. And then
Wow.
have you heard of the PlayStation 2 version?
No, actually no.
We are not going to talk about this on the show because it is not appropriate, but you
Uh,
need to do some research on the PlayStation 2 Final Fight game, which is the final Fight game ever made for good reason, as they killed the franchise.
wow.
And I will leave it at that. You need to do some research on that, though, and you will be like, what the heck did they do to Final Fight?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Uh,
so yeah, all those beat 'em up games, the only beat 'em up games I really like were the Ninja Turtle games, which I think talked about last week. Like
Hold on.
Turtles in Time.
Hold on. I took the headset out. I took the headset out so that way
Yeah, I hear you differently now.
yeah, yeah, because apparently people still can't hear me. So I'm gonna adjust everything So feel so talk and do the thing, okay? And
I
let
got
me
a
mute
phone
my
ringing.
mic so that way the phone isn't heard.
All right. So anyway, yeah. So the Ninja Turtles, they have the best beat 'em up games. Ninja Turtles. We talked about this last week though, so I'll just do a quick recap. Ninja Turtles was a great game. Was different than any of the other Ninja Turtle games, and then Ninja Turtles 2 went into the arcade style, and then they followed suit with that with Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, and Turtles with Time. We talked about the Hyperstone Heist,
Yep.
and I mentioned about Battle Nexus for PlayStation and GameCube and Xbox. And if you want to hear more discussion on that, go back and listen to last week's show where we did discuss the Ninja Turtle games in a little more depth.
Yep.
This week we want to try and move on to other
Okay.
games.
Now I got a
So
question though. I got a question. Are you a Tekken fan?
I've never played the games. I got to be honest.
Oh my gosh, man!
I have played the demo of Tekken, and by the way, you got really low now for me. I don't know how you are on the show.
No, I'm adjusting. I'm adjusting.
Okay, so I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, now I can't hear.
No, yeah, I know. I'm adjusting. I'm adjusting. So, but I no, I played Tekken a lot. I played Tekken a lot. Tekken for me was if I couldn't play Street Fighter, I played Tekken. You know?
And I'll tell you what game we would have played over and over again.
Yeah. I
If
mean,
they had done
no, no.
a Tekken crossover
Hmm.
with Star Trek and called it Trekkin.
Yeah, right. No, it would have
Go
been
on.
cool. No, but Tekken was a really fun game. I mean, I can't remember a lot of the character. I can't remember the character names at all, but I remembered it. I thought the graphics were a little bit hokey at the time. Even at the time, but it was still a fun game to play. It had some really cool, I mean, some really cool moves. I mean, I had fun playing it, so I can't, and I see that Melissa, she's a Tekken girl. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I can honestly say I played a demo of it that I had before, but I'd never actually played the full game or anything. And
Okay.
like I said, it's not my style of games, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, everybody has their own thing, man. All right, so I'm gonna try to readjust something on here. All right, so give me 1 second. All right, bro.
All right,
I'll
and then
mute
we're
my
gonna
mic.
get into a good discussion here on some stuff that I got to bring up. But
Yeah, just give
before
me
that, I
one
guess I'll
second.
go
All
into
right, and
one
I'm gonna
more
mute the mic.
fighting game before we get to the ones that I was going to talk about. Another fighting game that everybody talks about. What was that? Oh, no, another fighting game that everybody talks about that I'm just not big on. I don't even know if it is a fighting game, but I think it's a fighting game. The Final Fantasy games, are they fighting games? Everybody talks about them. I'm not sure if they're fighting games or not. I may be completely wrong on that one. But no, then there's like they came out with Super Smash Brothers, which we talked about last week. Super Smash Brothers, how you and I both weren't really fans of that because they didn't really have finishes to them or anything. And then they came out with a similar one, but without the Mario characters. They came out with one called Shrek Super Slam or something, some kind of Shrek game, and it was basically the same thing as like that, and it was bad. It was like Simpsons wrestling bad. And I really can't wait till you're back. But this week I wanted to talk to you about that one. But Simpsons wrestling, yeah, that was another really bad game. I guess now you're back. I guess I'll bring up more about Street Fighter because I'm like dying here because everything on my format needs you back. Yeah, the Street Fighter movies though, they were actually, like I said, they changed so much. Like the origin of the stories that they did with Guile, like we were saying, that would have been better off with another cast. But then you look at Blanca. They decided to give him this first name called Carlos, and they changed him over from a human to a monster, and just they really destroyed this character from the games that didn't really have a storyline to him, but he wasn't supposed to. I would have just done it that he was like some kind of animal that they turned into this guy for the fights, like because they do say he's from Brazil in the games, and yet in the movie he's not from Brazil. So it made no sense what they did with it. And I'm getting another text now that you're hearing like windows and sounds or something and chiming noises from Bishop's side. I think that's probably the birds. I don't know. It's probably his birds, I'm going to say, but yeah, I don't know. He's working on it. He is trying to fix his audio. We have some technical issues going on, but he did say that he's going to be getting a new microphone, and that's hopefully going to be by next week. We'll see what happens, but he is upgrading. He is working on it, and as we continue to grow this podcast, we are going to try to get bigger and better every week. Our topics are going to get better next week. Like I said, we're going to have the great discussion about the Survivor Series that a lot of people have been asking about and have been excited to hear about. Speaking of Survivor Series, I guess I'm going to get to the wrestling discussion without him because he's not back, but wrestling games have been evolved crazily over the years. I cannot stand the newer games, but we'll talk about that when he gets back because I know he's going to want to talk on that. Okay. Getting another text there, but going to ignore that one because it has nothing to do with this show. Yes, so in the old days, we had the Atari. They did make a wrestling game for the Atari. A lot of people don't remember it. It was not well received.
I'm back.
And I think it was just called Wrestling. Huh?
I'm back.
Okay, he's back. I'm dying here.
Sorry, no, John, and he wrote some time ago.
Okay, what did he write?
Go ahead.
Do we not know? Huh?
I said, what you were saying?
Oh, I was saying, what did John write?
Oh, he just said, what's up? That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, what's up? It's actually what's going down. Yeah. And right now it's this show. No. Did you hear any of what we were discussing there or trying to?
No, I didn't have my phone with me, so I was trying to find another headset.
So yeah, no, I brought up about Simpsons wrestling first off.
Okay.
And then I said I was going to save that discussion for when you got back.
Yeah.
Have you played Simpsons wrestling for the Sony PlayStation?
Yes, I have played it. Actually, in the arcade, when it was in the arcade.
They had that in the arcade?
Yes, for a little bit.
Wow. Was it as bad in the arcade as it was on the home port?
Yeah.
You literally jump on each other on your head. It's just dumb.
It was, I mean, you know, okay, you remember the Simpsons arcade game that was in the arcade, right? It was like an adventure game.
I love that game.
Right? And
love it.
You can play any of the characters, blah blah blah, right? But dang man, I don't know. As far as the wrestling game, it really disappointed me. That's what
you don't do anything. Like I said, it's just you don't do anything. You just jump on each other's heads.
Yeah.
Like another game that should have been good but was poorly executed. It's got some elements I like, but overall I just can't play it.
Yep.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
I like the show. I like the show.
Did you play the game?
As for the game.
I mean, Ron Jeremy having a chicken come out of his pants is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, but that's about it.
It's
really.
Not.
I mean,
honestly, that game is not even a button masher because you never know when things are going to happen or anything.
Yeah. No, but
Okay.
no, and the game has, again, it has some funny things, but it's not a good game.
No, it was not.
It's
I know that
terrible, man. It's I mean
some
I
non
can't.
wrestling fighting fans who played this game on YouTube have actually said it's a good game because they're
No.
basing it on fun. These are the kind of people who would be AEW fans. Oh, by the way, they are AEW
Oh
fans.
my word.
So I think it was a
Look,
lot.
here's my thing. Here's my thing. When it comes to games, right? If it doesn't, I don't care. Okay, okay, like, okay, with Celebrity Deathmatch. Okay, yeah, it may be fun for like the first a minute or two that you're
That's
playing.
the thing. It's a novelty game, yes,
Yeah,
but it's not
yeah,
something
but
that's practical to
yeah,
play.
exactly. It's a serious game, as a serious game that you're gonna invest your time and your emotions in and what have you. No, no. I mean, if it would have been, let's say, an arcade game, that when you go to the arcade, like maybe once a week, once a month, or how, whatever, however many times you went to the arcade, and you played it maybe once a month or something, you put in a couple quarters, okay, fine. But a game that you're gonna buy to keep at home, something that it should be something that you want to play a lot, because you're investing your time, especially if there's an adventure mode, especially if there, I mean, come on, man.
Well, one thing you could settle too, I said while you were gone,
Yeah.
was I an idiot on this or not? Is Final Fantasy a fighting game?
I don't think it's a fighting game. No,
I don't know, but I know they're very popular. So I was like, I don't know about this game. I
it's
just
not
know
a
it's
fighting game.
popular.
No, it's more. It's an adventure. It's an adventure game that does have uh fighting elements. You know,
Okay, so
it,
I'm not completely dumb on that
yeah, no,
then.
no, no. It's an adventure game. Where and you're going along in the story and all of that, but in it, it does have fighting elements. As part of the story, but it's not a fighting game at all. It's like the Lord of the Rings. Okay, for the PlayStation 2, I have Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Okay, um, and okay, it's an adventure game. It is an adventure game where you're going through the different levels. You see the different scenes from the movies, and the parts that you actually play. It is, you're fighting, but it's not a fighting game. It's like you're living the movie yourself as one of the characters, but it's not a
So
fighting
it's kind of
game.
like Beavis and Butthead, where it's an adventure game, but you have to fight enemies along the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Or like
exactly.
Bully, where it's an adventure game, but there's fights along the way.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And like, if you, for me, what I consider and classify a fighting game is gonna be where you're fighting. That's all you're doing. Like again, going back to Street Fighter, going back to Mortal Kombat. Those are
Like
fighting
boxing
games.
games, too.
Yeah, and
Which, if we're going to talk about boxing games, we have to mention the best boxing game of all
go ahead.
time. And I'm not talking about Mike Tyson's Punch Out because
No,
I
no,
love
no.
Mike Tyson's Punch
Go
Out,
ahead. Tell
but
me.
it's not the best realistic boxing game of all time.
Okay.
But the best, we talked about Mike Tyson's Punch Out enough last week anyway.
Yes, we
But
did.
as far as a realistic boxing game, if you want the best game to play,
Yeah.
it is Greatest Heavyweights
Never
for
played it.
Sega Genesis.
Never played it, but I heard it was really good.
Now, it's not like a fight night game, which was another one that's like really realistic for the PlayStation and all. It's
Uh-huh.
not realistic graphics wise, but it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was in the same style as another game that came out called Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing.
I
It
did
was
play
made by the
that one.
same company.
I did play
So
that one.
if you played that, then you know the style.
Oh yeah.
But this had everybody. It had Muhammad Ali.
Nice.
It had George Foreman. It had Evander Holyfield. It
Nice.
had Smoking Joe Frazier, Floyd Patterson, Rocky Marciano. Joe Lewis is
Wait
in
a
this
minute. This one
game.
had Butterbean as well, right?
No, that would be Ready to Rumble Boxing.
Okay, because I played Ready to Rumble Boxing.
That's Ready to Rumble Boxing.
Yeah, I played Ready to
That
Rumble
was a
Boxing
later
as
game. That
well
came out
as
for the
the Evander
PlayStation
Holyfield.
and Dreamcast.
Yeah, no, I played the Evander Holyfield and Ready to Rumble Boxing as well. So it's like I'm trying to, you know, and Ready to Rumble had just about everybody in there. So
But in this game, you would create your created fighter. You could do exhibition matches, so you could have all those dream matches that you've always wanted.
Yep.
But you create your own fighter. You could create up to 2 at a time that the game could save.
Yep.
And like I've made Mike Tyson. I've made the Big Show.
Yep.
I've made tons of different people.
Yep.
Because one thing that's about this game is the taller you are, the more advantage.
We're reconnected. So, okay, I think everybody, because of the delay, everybody's hearing you. But you're saying, but
So YouTube's trying to shut us down again.
Again. What's going on? Or what's going down?
They could try to shut us down all they want. But in reality, I think it's because they're jealous and they want to join in on the video game. You know what video game we could take them to and really take them on?
Which one?
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It's one for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
That we can send them on a journey. And it's a wrestling game.
Okay.
For the Super Nintendo.
I think I know
Super Brawl.
Yeah.
We'll send them the Super Brawl.
I didn't have that game. But
for the longest time I had an emulator of it, and then I finally got a cartridge of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that game, but one of my cousins did, so I would borrow it from him just to play it. And I would have to play this. Like by myself in the middle of the night, because as I told you before, my brother, I'm player one.
Well, I'll tell you what is horrible.
Uh-huh.
One day, I want you to play the audio for that game,
right.
Like the gameplay in the ring, without seeing it.
Okay.
As you're moving your guys, they make noises like, oh, 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 oh. These are the noises that you hear out of them. And it's terrible. It sounds, and they're walking like they have something stuck up their butt in this game too. So
it probably sounds.
And then you'll hear Tony Schiavone once in a while throw in like a flat on the mat.
Sounds like they're a little bit constipated or something.
But the real reason that game has any good part to it, the gameplay itself is terrible. The game itself is horrible.
Yep.
The only thing I like about that game is the selection screen. And people complain about it and say it's annoying. It's awesome.
Yep.
These guys jump out at you and say things to you. Like Sting will randomly just go like, whoa, with his thing, and Flair will just do a woo, and like Brian Pillman will be like a thirst for high impact, and Ricky Steamboat, he comes out, but he points at Rick Rude when he says, who deserves the belt? And then Rick Rude comes out with the sexiest man alive. And Rick Steiner has one of the funniest ones. He just comes up as, show me respect. It's like, what? It's so crazy that it's amazing. You know?
Yep.
I don't know if I'm alone on that, but I love the selection screen in that game. It's certainly better than most of the games that came out for the NES, like the original WrestleMania.
I had that one. I think I still have.
You can't control the guys; they randomly will pin when they feel like it.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, I think the only thing that I liked about it was kind of like the music in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but not even that good.
Like it changed like every 10 seconds. It was like,
yeah, and it made no sense. It would just randomly play like Honky Tonk Man's music, and meanwhile, you got Randy Savage versus Hogan in the ring. So why is Honky Tonk Man's music playing?
Exactly. It's like it would like change randomly. It would be like Hogan, Macho Man, and whatever.
And then they had some generic music for it too, like do. That was the music. But it's just really bad.
No, but for a long time, because again, like I said, we're poor and we couldn't afford other systems or whatever, because at the time it was like Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we got suckered into buying that one too.
But
the one I would rent all the time, and then I finally owned it.
for the time until I saw
I
better
couldn't have fun with
graphics.
that game. It was just I loved the look, I guess, because it was wrestling. I thought, oh my god, it's so cool, but
Yeah.
no, it was terrible. I know everybody loves pro wrestling
Hmm.
for the NES. I can't. I'm not a fan of that game. I did like tag team wrestling, and everybody hates that one, and that one I actually like.
Yeah, I didn't even know about tag team wrestling until, let's say, 5 years ago.
Every time I see somebody play that on YouTube, nobody can figure out how to play it, and they all say it sucks because it only does one move.
Hmm.
No, you're not doing it right. You have to hit the A button once. Don't button mash.
Hmm.
Hit it once.
Hmm.
You then grab the guy. And then you can use your D-pad. You can press up, down, left, or right.
Hmm.
And it will switch what move you're about to do. Then you hit A again to execute that move.
Hmm.
So there are more than one move.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're only doing one move, it means you don't know how to play the game.
Compared to WrestleMania, where it was mainly punching or kicking.
Yeah, it's like, how could you bad about this game and then you like that one?
Yeah,
What's wrong with you?
because if I remember correctly, when it came down to WrestleMania, it was just punching, kicking, and then until the guy
And
goes down, then
collecting
you
power
finish.
ups that get thrown into the ring.
Yeah,
Which that would make its return, by the way, in your house for
yeah.
PlayStation.
I thought that was really good.
They had that return. I think it was also a WrestleMania arcade game. I think they had the power ups actually.
Yeah, they had it in the arcade game. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had that in your house as well as the first WrestleMania. But a game that doesn't get enough love is WCW World Championship Wrestling for Nintendo. I love this game. I used to rent it all the time. I finally got it a couple of years back.
Yep.
Finally got the cartridge, and I still love this game.
Yeah, it was really good.
You kick, you punch,
Yep.
but then you grapple.
Yeah.
And then based on the 4 moves that you get to pick beforehand for each guy,
Yeah.
and you get a long list of moves to choose from too.
Oh, yeah.
You get like
You
10
can have,
moves
like,
to
just
choose
about,
4.
Yeah, and you could have a bunch of different combinations on the different 4 moods or whatever. I mean,
Yeah, and when you're selecting, which a lot of people don't realize is it shows you like, okay, the first time you selected, now that means it's showing you like a red button on the up.
yeah,
Because it'll show you to perform that move, you hit up. To perform the other one, you press down, left, right. But again, people who play this, they go, oh my god, it's just got one move. What's the point of selecting those other moves? Well, because you're not doing it right. You know? If you do it right, you can do it. And then, like, you can go to the top rope, and there's 2 different moves up there, too, that you can do. You can do a frog splash, or you can do a double axe handle off the top. And sometimes you can even do a foot off the rope. It depends on what guy you are. Kind of like how running off the rope, sometimes you'll give a clothesline, where other times you'll do like a back body drop. There's different moves for different guys, depending on who they are. Like the Road Warriors, they give this powerful clothesline.
Yep.
Like JBL. It's like crazy. And they're all wearing like the same pants, just different color. So it's kind of, the graphics are terrible. I'm not gonna deny that. The graphics are horrible in this game.
Yeah.
And like when you do a tag match, the guy becomes invisible, and like if when you go for a pin and the tag guy, the guy on the apron comes in, he's always just a black shadowy figure. Kind of like the FTC man that showed up at the Billionaire Ted match at WrestleMania 12. So, yeah, graphics-wise, it's not good. One thing I love is when you win a match, they will have the guy, he raises his arms, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. They raise their arms, and you hear the same guy's voice for every character just go, yeah. It's just so funny.
Well,
I used to do that all the time.
Remember when it came to the cartridges?
Yeah, they were limited sound effects.
Yeah. So I mean,
I used to make that sound though, do that mimic all the time, and it would make my brother laugh every time I did it. Even if we weren't playing the game, I would just do that.
Yeah,
and it would make him laugh because he knew where it was coming from, and it was so funny. So yeah, I love World Championship Wrestling. It's such a hard game, though. I can never beat it. I know if you get all the way to the end, you end up to, because the game was ported from a Japan game that was a New Japan Pro Wrestling game.
Yep.
The only 2 characters that stayed the same in the game were the Road Warriors.
Of course.
They were in both games.
Of course.
Everybody else was different, but the final boss in that version in Japan was Andre the Giant.
Ooh.
But obviously, Andre the Giant is not in WCW.
Of course.
So they put him under a mask and call him the WCW Master.
Okay.
Like, they could have re-released the game and called it the Giant.
Yeah, yeah.
Paul White, but it was long before he was ever there. So, yeah, they just put him under a black mask, Andre, which makes him look like the giant machine that he was in WWE.
Yep.
And they label him the WCW Master. And he's the final boss of the WCW game.
Wow.
He's not playable. I don't think you can win him. I don't think he's ever playable. But he's the final boss.
Not that I remember.
No, but I know he's the final boss that you face in it. But at least this is a game that was in depth. It went through. It was like kind of like a career mode.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It was like a career,
and it had a decent roster. I mean, Eddie Gilbert's in it. Michael Hayes is in it. Rick Steiner's in it. Scott Steiner's in it. I think Scott Steiner was in it. Actually, I don't think Scott Steiner is in it. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't think he is. Mike Rotunda's in it. Kevin Sullivan's in it. Lex Luger, Sting.
About WCW games though, because I mean,
Ric Flair, both of the Road Warriors, Lex Luger. Yeah. I mean, come on, that's a huge roster for an NES.
That's what I'm saying. You know, it had all these people. Now, if they
and Ricky Steamboat too is in it.
Yeah. Now, if they ever, if they ever re-released it for like let's say now, right? Let's say now for new PlayStations or what have you, right? Or the Nintendo Switch, right? If they re-released it. Okay, you remember
never gonna happen though.
No, I know that. Like, I know WWE, you know, Vince is not gonna allow it. But let's say he has a nostalgia feeling or something, and he wants to, you know.
Well, you would have to have FCI wherever the heck they are. They'd have to get involved in re-releasing it too. So.
No, yeah, but you know, I mean, you know, but imagine if they re-released it, but you know, but they added characters or something.
Well, like the people on YouTube are making like ROM hacks of pro wrestling. Yeah. Like they made an AEW version and a WWE version. I want someone to make a version of this game. I would love to see this game with, like, say, John Cena or somebody. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Now you remember during the time where the Taskmaster and the Dungeon of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
You what was the guy, the other one, the Taskmaster's boss? You know, the big fat.
Oh, the Master.
Yeah, the Master.
He was the Master.
Yeah, right. But you know,
he was actually from other things though. He played a different character in other promotions before that.
But yeah, but you know, if they re-released the game and you know, and they would have the Master as the final boss.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Abdullah, by the way. I know it wasn't Abdullah, but
yeah, but you know, I mean, it would be, you know, it would be something different with it if they re-released it.
Well, they were trying to re-release a game exactly like that as a sequel.
Yeah,
and it never came out, and it was going to have the Midnight Express and everything else there. It's actually the game actually leaked online.
Yeah,
and like Francine actually played it.
Oh wow.
Francine from ECW. She played it on her YouTube channel.
Wow.
But yeah, they just recently, John Riggs too. He just played it on his channel, even though a lot of people's playing it now because it just leaked out like last year. Cornette was even asked if he knew about it, and he didn't care whatsoever, even though the Midnight Express is in the game. Wow, but it never got released. It was an unreleased game, but it looks very similar to the version that came out, but it's got more moves and stuff. It's actually a more it's a better game. But now the other games even that came out from WWE, they on the NES, like King of the Ring. Oh my goodness, you want a bad WWE game? Play King of the Ring.
I know, right? No, I mean
it looks great.
I played it, and now I rented it. Because there was, I rented it. I wanted to see how it was before I would spend my pennies on the game. No. That's all I gotta say. No.
The only NES WWF game I have is WrestleMania, that first one.
Yeah.
and that was because I had that as a kid. But
Yeah.
they're just all so bad. I wouldn't want to own the other ones. I own 3 wrestling games for the NES.
Yeah.
I own WWF WrestleMania. I own World Championship Wrestling, and I own Tag Team Wrestling. Those are the only 3 I own.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that because none of the other games for the NES were any good.
No,
they were horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play any of the other games. Like if I would visit a friend or something for a minute, and he was playing it, if he was playing any of the other games, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, this is this game. I'm like, I'll look at it. I wouldn't play it. I would just look at it, and if and a lot of the times with the other wrestling games, I would just say, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Have fun. No, come on, play. I want you to play. No, it's okay. It's okay. I would try to make up an excuse because I just didn't like it. You could just tell it wasn't a good game.
Well, I had a Genesis before I had a Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So after that, I had to go into Genesis. And I had Super WrestleMania.
Okay.
To this day, I cannot stand that game. I loved the fact that you could be Ultimate Warrior. And honestly, whenever I played that game even back then, I would always pick the Warrior and just have him run off the ropes and do his leaping elbow. I still think that looks cool, but
I did the same thing.
I would look like an idiot, and my brother would just move out of the way, and I'd just fall on the mat. It was horrible.
No, I did the same thing. It's funny because okay, when I would play with my brother, right? We let's say we play other games, we play other games. Like if we were playing, let's say like Mortal Kombat or something, right? What he would do is that he would crouch down and he wouldn't fight. He would try to wait until I get closer and then he uppercuts me, right? Okay, and he did that all the time. Okay, so when it was my turn and we were playing that game, I was the Ultimate Warrior and I was running the ropes doing the He said, "Come on, that's not fair, wrestle." Hey, it's not fair that you're not gonna fight in Mortal Kombat. I'm not gonna be fair in wrestling.
Yeah, it's like in the UFC games. I always hated those, and my brother, because he's a button masher, he would just take me down and just start pounding me into oblivion before I could even do anything. Yeah. And he loved those games. I hated them.
Like I got US for the PlayStation 3. I got
I didn't go that far into PlayStation, so I'm talking like early PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2.
Well, my thing is I was always into fighting games. Right? My favorite games were fighting games, and the wrestling games, right? And if I play somebody else, it's like for the PlayStation 2, right? The PlayStation. Okay, let's go PlayStation, right? PlayStation. I had WCW Nitro.
I had that.
Right, and you remember when you played WCW Nitro? In the beginning, where you can do a set of codes, and all of a sudden it opens up a big variety of different characters and different arenas.
Well, you could also win those characters, but yeah, you could use the code to cheat.
At that time, when I finally got the game, I got the cheat codes with it. I eventually
Thunder did the same thing.
Yeah. I eventually played the game to, with the adventure and all that and win them. But at first I was like, okay, let me see. I think my favorite thing about it was Superfan. You remember Superfan?
I don't remember the Superfan.
Okay, Superfan.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Okay, Superfan was a big fat guy with face paint.
Yes, that's right. I do remember that guy.
Hat and the big finger.
Yeah, he had the Macho Man foam hat. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Macho Man foam hat.
Yeah, I remember that guy. I don't want to remember that guy, but
I thought it was funny they actually had a guy named Superfan. But
I can't believe they got Donnie Camaro in the video game.
I hope Eric.
Here's a reference that nobody got.
I hope Eric doesn't hear this. Eric. But no,
I had to go there, man.
Hey, that's nothing, man. Ooh, that's nothing. When I would play any of the WWE games with the creator wrestler, I would create Jax. Like I
I
already
tell you
knew
though,
how I
man,
was gonna
the
look.
Nitro game, I loved how they cut promos,
Yep,
like the main guys,
yep.
and you would listen to them, and like, I don't remember if it was Nitro or Thunder. I can't remember which was which,
Hmm.
but like, Piper was like so excited, like, pick me.
Yep,
What's wrong with you? I heard Nash.
yep.
Nash said, don't pick Lenny. Fine.
I
Because I could
remember.
squash Nash. Pick me. You know why? Because
Hmm.
everybody's got to pay to Piper. And
Yep.
then you would go to Nash to see what he's talking about. Nash would be like, whoa, wait a second. I know what you're thinking. Don't pick me. Pick
Yep.
Hogan or somebody else. Don't pick me.
Yep.
Because see, and somebody made a joke. I don't remember who made this joke,
Yep.
so I can't quote them or give them credit, but it's not my joke. But they were like, even in a video game, Nash didn't want to do a job. It's just so funny because it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Hogan, I can't even understand what he's saying. He doesn't make
Well, you know
sense.
something, brother.
No, it's Hollywood Hogan.
Oh,
First
Hollywood
off,
Hogan. Okay.
and he's just like, Hollywood's gonna walk. I don't remember. It was just something weird.
Yeah.
But then like DDP is just like, hey, monkey boy. I'm like,
right.
why is he calling us monkey boy? He's in both games too, like in the other way, he's like, yo, monkey boy.
Yeah.
Or in the one, I think it was Nitro, he's like there's a choice here?
Yeah. I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. And then of course
But yeah, each one of them had this line.
Yo.
Like Eddie Guerrero too. He spoke mostly in Spanish in it, so I didn't understand them. But
if I could, you know what, if I could remember what he said, I would translate.
I'm like just going by memory. I haven't played these games in so long.
And then of course,
but like that's how much they have an impact on you.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know that you can remember them all those years later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That they did that.
Definitely, no, I agree, man. And it was just. What would have been funny is that if like with the extra characters, that with the cheat codes, right? If the extra characters, like you had Superfan, you had a guy actually, a big fat guy is Superfan. Hi, I'm Superfan, whatever, or a guy.
Yeah, they didn't have their own big nuts, but
or an animatronic ant going or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because.
Like, who is the guy who's begging you to pick him? I can't remember who that was either.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I remember somebody begging you to pick them.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember who it was. Huh?
No, I don't remember who it was, but that would have been perfect for like the super fans.
But somebody, was like, "Please pick me. Just pick me. Please pick me." I don't remember who it was though.
Yeah, can't remember.
Oh man, I gotta go back and dig these games out and check them out again.
No, but
no, man. I thought Thunder was good too. Everybody hated Thunder, but
I thought Thunder was decent too.
I guess there was some kind of cheat with Thunder that you could win a match very easily, and people figured out.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it. Like I remember playing these games with my friend Mike, and he would always just pick up a weapon and just start beating the tar out of me until I ran out of energy, and then I automatically lost. But so I didn't like playing with him.
Yeah.
I remember too, and all the games were like this. Remember when you had to hit like 1,000,000 buttons to hit your finisher?
Oh yeah.
It was like triangle, triangle, square, X, down, up.
And by
start.
the time you were done, like their energy was enough so they could escape or something.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah. The stuff you had to do. Every game was like that. Warzone was like that.
Yeah.
Attitude was like that.
It wasn't until
ECW Hardcore Revolution.
Right? Yeah, it wasn't until
it was
it wasn't until SmackDown where
SmackDown was like, oh my god, one button and I could do a finisher.
Yeah. Yeah, well first
it was
you
like
have to build it up. You have to
the heavens opened up and we heard that it was exactly. Like wow.
I mean the cool thing is that you could set it up where you can it'll give you because it's like life points, but for the finisher, right? So as soon as it gives you the little button or the little
and they started you off with 4 in the first SmackDown game because they wanted to make sure you were aware that you had this.
Yeah.
And then, like as they went on for a while there, they even started doing where if you had 2 finishers saved up, you could steal your opponent's finisher.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like if you were to
yeah.
rock, you could do the Stone Cold Stunner on Stone Cold, and it
Yeah,
was
but that
so
was,
cool.
but even that was still cool though. That was still cool.
Oh my
Again, one
god,
button.
the SmackDown games, they revolutionized wrestling games. And
Yeah.
anybody can argue otherwise. I hear all the time about Fire Pro Wrestling. And like I told you last week about a Fire Pro Wrestling game in Japan that we're not going to talk about here.
Yeah,
But
no.
it's just, I don't know. Even the one that came out here in the States,
Yep.
I own it,
Yep.
but I don't play it. I don't care for the style of those games.
I borrowed it.
I don't know.
I borrowed it from my cousin and I played it, but that's what
Like, I like the Legends of Wrestling games, and nobody else does.
I like it. I like
even the
it.
first one. To me, the first one is so good.
Yeah.
Not because of the gameplay or anything like that, but because it follows the territories.
Yeah.
Like you go from territory to territory with your wrestlers and you have all these matches and like you argue with the promoters. It's so well done, the story mode and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I
mean,
and
you can earn yourself a manager
itself,
and everything.
I didn't like, but I agree with you. It's just the fact that territory to territory is you're retelling
what you're doing is so good. It's like I can almost overlook everything else because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Legends of Wrestling 2 doesn't get enough credit for all the amazing things that game did.
Oh, I agree.
Adding the entrance music. I think that was the first game that really had like you come out to the ring and like you're ring announced out there by Gary Mike Capetta. First of all, my favorite ring announcer. That in itself is amazing. But like it even had like the steel cage match where you're actually gonna have like go through the door.
Yeah.
It was the first one I think that actually did that.
Yeah, I think it was because all of the other games that had the cages, it was always over the top.
Yeah, and most of them too would be like oh my god, I'll never forget. I think it was Warzone. Mm-hmm. It was either Warzone or Attitude. I think it was Warzone, where you'd climb to the top and then you would just stand there and keep pressing down a million times.
Yeah.
Until like a meter filled up, and then the guy would just automatically like just drop down and you won.
Yeah, no,
that was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was a pain.
It looked terrible even.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was like okay,
Legends of Wrestling 2 also, by the way, had the unlockable character of Andy Kaufman.
Oh yeah.
So
I heard him. Yeah.
That was so cool.
Oh yeah. No,
and if you had the PlayStation version that used the DVD feature to unlock videos of the wrestlers cutting shoot interviews. So like there was little mini vignettes with like shoot interviews with Bam Bam Bigelow and George the Animal Steel and all these other guys like talking about their careers.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I loved that about it. It was so cool. And then with Showdown, they had all these plans, but the problem was Acclaim was going under already.
Yeah.
And Acclaim, they thought Showdown was going to be the savior, but the problem was they didn't have the money to send their testers in to test the game out. The game ended up getting delayed. I had it on pre-order. It got delayed. We were supposed to get a free t-shirt. We didn't get the free t-shirt. They gave us an Andre the Giant figure that was supposed to be exclusive. It didn't even have a box. Mm-hmm. It came in a bag. Everything about that deal ended up becoming a crappy deal, and then the game is filled with bugs. It just stopped. So many areas it freezes up and glitches, and it's got so many issues with it. But yeah, I still like it. Mm-hmm. The music alone is great.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The minute it starts off with I forget the name of the song. The one that goes like "Bang Your Head," that whole deal, which was also used in The Wrestler. It's got the great music. It's got a huge roster. Yeah. I'm talking like all the Von Erichs are in it. Bret Hart. It was the first return for the Ultimate Warrior. Yep. And I remember Warrior's huge promotion for it, even because he was like hinting his return to pro wrestling, and everybody thought he was coming back to WWE. And it turned out he was just going to be in this game. But then like Sting is in this game, Hogan's in this game. It's just amazing. Like the first Legends of Wrestling was actually supposed to be another ECW game. Yeah. But then ECW folded, so they changed it. But that's why Sabu and Rob Van Dam are in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to be in the ECW game. And it certainly beat Acclaim's previous game that came out before Legends of Wrestling, which was Anarchy Rules.
Yeah. I'm not going to
Which we talked about last week, too, with Rob Van Dam not even having his ponytail.
Exactly.
That game, though, had some good music, too. It had Rhino's music, the Debonair song, and it also had Mikey Whipwreck's music. So it had some good music in it.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that absolutely, what the heck is it doing in any video game? Have you played ECW Anarchy Rules?
No, because my cousin bought it. And because he was excited, and I was supposed to go over his house to play, and then because it sucked, he took it back to the store.
Well, I'll praise the fact that Dusty Rhodes is in it. Mikey Whipwreck's in it. I'll praise that. Bro, this game even brought us the first game, by the way, to break a table. It was the first game to do that.
Okay.
Like to actually set up a table and break the table. You know, throw a guy through a table.
Yeah. Because
it was in Warzone, but it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Do you know that they had a mode in that game? Because Hardcore Revolution had the barbed wire matches, which was just the ropes being replaced with barbed wire.
Yeah.
But this game had a match called Brimstone Match.
Okay.
Do you know this?
No.
Okay, so around the ring on the floor, there are hot coals all over.
Okay.
And the object of the match is to throw your opponent over the top rope onto the coals, and they ignite into ash. And they scream as it happens.
Wow.
Because, ECW did those matches all the time, you know?
Right.
They killed people constantly.
Right.
What the heck? What?
I mean, I would think that if anybody's going to do something like that, it would be WWE
Japan.
with for like a specialty match for Undertaker Arcade.
But don't they actually kill you? You die.
I'm just saying.
Look this up. It is so. I remember when it came out, I was like, "What is this?" I don't know.
I don't know.
So ECW Anarchy Rules, definitely the weirdest wrestling game because it actually features a match that you literally kill your opponent.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
But they also had the backstage match. They had a match that took place out in the parking lot, like not the parking lot. It was like the back area, the back lot of the building.
Yeah.
And like you could like climb out a dumpster and jump off it and stuff. So it was cool.
Yeah.
I liked the Anarchy Rules for the most part. There was certain things like that are terrible, like the way the guys look and everything. Yeah. It was almost like an unfinished game.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that the general look of it of the game itself, like the ring and all that stuff, wasn't even, like.
Well, the ring looked similar to it did in Hardcore Revolution. It was more of a darker tone though, because it was like a black ring, more like ECW. So. Again, this game I thought had some good elements, and I thought that if they really worked with it and did more time and effort, I think that they knew ECW was done, and that's why they didn't care.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to get out what they had. That's what I think happened. Yeah, but moving off those games, we'll get to some of the good ones here. I want to try and wrap this up within the next 8 minutes. So, the SmackDown games, they really started going up as they went on. Like SmackDown 2 had like the greatest commercial for any wrestling game ever. And to this day, I will stand by that.
Yep.
With Kurt Angle checking into the hotel.
Yeah.
That's nothing will ever top that. But SmackDown 2 had brought in a new match, which was a good concept, but it was not done well. They did the casket match.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep, I remember.
But it wasn't good. but at least they were trying something new. Yep. I give them that. But SmackDown 2 had one of my favorite matches in any of the games. It had the hardcore time limit title match from WrestleMania 2000.
I remember.
But you could do it with any title in the game.
Yeah,
and it was so much fun. It was so much fun having the belt and like trying to avoid everybody so they couldn't pin you and steal the belt from you. It goes back to what we were talking about last week. Like South Park Rally did that with the Cow Days, and there was some other games too that we mentioned that does that, where like South Park Rally did it with a couple of different modes on there. Like, and then there was other games too. I can't remember what they were, but we mentioned other ones too that did that. Mm-hmm. We talked about Crush Hour, how they did that as well with the Royal Rumble mode. But it's fun, you know? It was all in fun.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then they moved on to PlayStation 2 with the next one, Just Bring It. And that was cool because you got to roam the backstage and you got to choose your path of where you were going to go in story mode. Mm-hmm. And like in one of them, I remember Jerry Lynn just like appears backstage. I was like, wow, Jerry Lynn. And you challenge him to a match, you beat him, and boom, you unlock Jerry Lynn in the game. Yeah. So it was cool to have different paths, and that was like the first game to really do that.
Yep.
You know? We talked about
what I was thinking by while you were talking about that. You remember about a couple years ago, I told you I wanted to create a game for Tuesday Night Tussle?
Yep.
I'm still going to do that.
Okay.
I'm still going to do that. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I'm still going to do that. It's going to be for Roblox. So. Anyway, go back to what you were saying.
That'll be interesting, yeah. But now then the SmackDown game hit, at the time, the most amazing game it had put out, Shut Your Mouth. Mm-hmm. First of all, featuring the return of Hulk Hogan and the NWO. Mm-hmm. But again, the backstage stuff got taken to a new level than it was even last time. You got to go all around and everything. And because I mean, in previous games, like I think it was SmackDown 2, or maybe it was Just Bring It. By the way, Just Bring It also had Fred Durst as a playable character.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, it was either Just Bring It or the second one, SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. I can't remember which one it was, but you got to go to like WWF New York and wrestle there.
Oh yeah, I thought that was
and
cool.
It was cool too, because that was the one where you got to fight in the crowd, but it was weird because they were still like cardboard cutouts and they would just kind of move out of the way when you like pushed into them. So
yeah, I remember.
But they were trying. They were always trying. Yeah. Like there was one where you throw a guy into a soda machine and sodas fall out. I think that was SmackDown 1. And you could pick up the soda can and throw it at the guy. Right. I think that was the first SmackDown. But WCW was going horribly bad on PlayStation. Mayhem was good. I liked Mayhem. Everybody hates Mayhem. To me, Mayhem is one of the best wrestling games ever made.
Yep.
I love Mayhem. Could fight backstage. You could use a taser on guys. Right. It's good. And then they released Backstage Assault, and let's not even talk about that one. But yeah. So then the SmackDown hit its peak with the greatest game ever released for a wrestling game. SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. Now Brock Lesnar was in Shut Your Mouth. Mm-hmm. And I played as Brock Lesnar all the time in Shut Your Mouth. That was my guy. Mm-hmm. But when Here Comes the Pain came out, Goldberg's in the game. Mm-hmm. It's the first game with the Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. It has story mode brought to a whole new level that we'd never seen before, or since, for that matter, with like these vignettes showing things leading up to the matches and everything. It made it feel like an actual pay-per-view was going on.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
And it was so much fun. I still go back to Here Comes the Pain. That's my go-to wrestling game. It's just so good. Everything about it.
I think
I don't know how you feel about that.
I think I still have it somewhere.
And then SmackDown versus Raw, I never was a huge fan of. Mm-hmm. But then SmackDown versus Raw 2006 and 2007, they brought in a new mode that that never came back, I don't think. GM mode.
No, I
And
never
this
seen
was
it. I
cool
never
because you got
seen
to
it
do the
since then.
draft. You get to do the draft, and then you're trying to defeat the other show with better ratings, and like you could slander the other promotion and send guys over there. It was so cool and everything. All the stuff you could do with it. It was like franchise mode in Madden.
Yep.
It was so much fun.
It's exactly like
Which there's
franchise
another
mode.
game, by the way, Madden 05. That's the best Madden in my opinion, and I'll never be told any otherwise. But yeah. So then we'll get to this really quick. We're going to talk about this. The N64 games.
Mm-hmm.
WCW had World Tour, which came out, which was good, and then it got better with Revenge. And to me, that's the best N64 wrestling game, Revenge.
Oh, I agree.
I did like WrestleMania 2000, but I still like Revenge better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hate No Mercy. I know everybody loves No Mercy. I hate No Mercy.
I mean, I thought it was okay. I'm not going to say I hate it, but I'm not going to say that I love it either. I thought it was okay.
It's not the greatest wrestling game of all time.
It's not the best, but it's not the worst, in my opinion.
Now, the reason I saved
issues.
that for last.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what's going on?
With
Ukes, who made No Mercy and all those games.
Okay, no, I don't.
They have made a new video game that is coming out.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
No, I do not.
AEW has a video game.
Okay, I know AEW has a video, but same people?
It's made by Ukes, and it's made in the same style as No Mercy.
Oh, God.
It's the sequel to No Mercy.
Oh, God.
But it's AEW.
Oh, God.
And I posted some screenshots the other day. This game looks terrible. Kenny Omega is right there on the front page of it and looking all terrible.
Yeah.
Pointing around.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is just... I don't even want to see it. It's going to be so bad.
Oh, God.
So speaking of bad...
Yeah.
No, so did anybody write any questions or anything that we missed?
No, just Mary. She says, I'm really enjoying the game segment podcast. She's learning a lot.
Do you know that person?
Huh?
Do you know that person?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
My good friends, and she's now a subscriber to our channel and a listener. And,
good stuff.
Let me see. When John wrote "What's up?" and you said "What's going down?" he said "What's going down?" My bank account, and I typed in LOL.
Okay.
And I guess Melissa
not because of our show, though.
Right? And I guess Melissa finally heard me.
Okay. I know she told me she was giving up because she was going off. That was a while back. But so yeah, next week we will be back with the Survivor Series discussion.
Yep.
And we got a lot to talk about with that.
Yep.
We're gonna try to keep that under 2 hours if we can. We'll see what happens. Halloween Havoc with 3 hours. Again, we'll see what we can do.
Yep. So Mary,
did you have anything
Mary,
to
if
add?
you want to learn about Survivor Series, and I know my friend Mary, she wants to learn more about wrestling. Mary, you want to learn about Survivor Series, you got to catch the podcast next week, okay?
Next week is going to be very informative for a lot of people.
Definitely.
Including us.
Yes.
Because you'll probably teach me some things. I'll teach you some things.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about our favorite Survivor Series. And anybody listening in, if you want to tell us your favorite Survivor Series moment, match, show, whatever, send it in and let us know. And we will talk about it on the air, what the people think. Because we don't just want our opinions, we want yours as well. We listen to our listeners.
Yes, we do.
Did you have anything to add?
Nope, not at all. Not at all whatsoever, my brother.
Well, then we are going to get out of here now, and we will see you next week. Well, you will hear us next week on the show as we talk about the Survivor Series. Until then, I'm Big Time Jimmy Larson. He's CT Bishop, and we'll see you next time to see what's going down.